Hello, everyone. Welcome back. This is Image Bearers. I'm your host, Lacey Connor. I hope everyone is having a good day. Today, we have Lindsay again.
Hello.
But this time, we're not doing Two Sisters and John. We're actually going to talk about something that both of us shared.
Yeah.
Which is our mother.
Mm-hmm.
We shared our... That sounded very funny.
We shared our mother.
We did. We shared our mother. We did. She's quality. So, yes, today is a episode about... early onset Alzheimer's. I think I mentioned it like the first episode, like the one about me. I think it was called like, It's Me, Lacey.
Oh, yeah, you did.
I talked about it a little bit, but I've had a lot of people that have reached out or been like, I really wish you would talk more about it and elaborate more on the thing, because there's not many people that we know, like people get like Alzheimer's, but like early onset Alzheimer's is something that is sadly like rising, I heard.
Really?
Well, I heard it's like rising now and stuff.
Because she was like 5, I think, when she was, around the time. So that's pretty early.
And then she was 62 when she passed away.
Yeah, so it moves a lot more aggressively than the actual like late onset Alzheimer's.
Right. I mean, that's what I saw online too.
Wow, it's on the rise. That's
what they said. But they say it's due to like just a whole bunch like environmental, just
poisons in the food.
Right. I mean, always
in the air.
That's just, it's like you just got to be, you just got to try your best on those kind of things.
What, with the poisons in the food?
Right. Well, just all the stuff and like plastic, like it's just, we're all trying our best, but we all can't throw all our Tupperware all at once. And
that's true.
All our face products and all that and stuff. But I try not to microwave Tupperware. I know that one.
Yeah,
that one will
it
get
bakes, the microplastics bake into food, and then you gotta,
So I try my best. I try to be intentional, right?
I do too now. And then I'm like, oh wow, I just drank out that plastic bottle. Oh crap.
Right?
Oh well.
Right? You're like, next time I will do better. Next time. It's a slow thing. It's a slow.
Well, if it's not like, early onset Alzheimer's, it's cancer or autism. It's something like,
But I think it's just, we just have so much like extra stuff in our like, just everything in our food that we don't really need, in our products we use on our face. Everything has some kind of weird chemical.
Well, even the air they say now too. Right. So I could get real conspiratorial with that.
We could go down rabbit hole, but today is not about going down rabbit holes of how bad all our stuff is.
Yes.
Thanks for, what was it, RFK for making America healthy again.
Thank you.
That what?
America healthy again. It's funny. I love him, dude. He's on the right track.
He is. A lot of people don't like his voice, but I'm like, it is what it is. He sounds like he sounds like a scary movie kind of person. Right? A lot of people. I also notice older people don't like it when he talks. Like, I'm fine, but I think it's because I have 3 kids that just are yelling all the time. That I'm just used to like
older people don't?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Right? Yeah. A lot of people, older people I've noticed be like, I just can't. His voice, like, I know he has good information. It's just his voice. And I think it's just because I have such small kids. I'm used to like, like voices that are
the real high pitch sound.
High pitch or like scratchy.
I do the scratchy voice over the high pitch sound.
Right.
Like, a little more mousy. I'm like,
So I think those are fine.
Like,
We digress.
Okay, yeah.
All right. Before we get into talking about mom, let's say a little prayer.
Yeah.
All right. Heavenly Father, creator of heaven and earth, Lord, we thank you for this beautiful day. We thank you that we have the opportunity to sit down and to talk about one of your image bearers that is no longer with us, but with you right now, Lord. Lord, please just give Lindsay and I clear thinking, clear speech. And Lord, please be with people right now that may have a significant other, a loved one that does have Alzheimer's, early onset, dementia, any kind of stuff that is neurological. Lord, may they just feel seen, heard, and loved. Lord, please just give them patience, give them love, give them a big bear hug and tell them that they are loved and that you see them, Lord. Please be with other people who are listening right now, may not have a family member that has a disease or anything, but is struggling. Lord, just be with them. Let them know that you are with them. You are right next to them, and you will guide them. You will give them comfort and peace, Lord. All they have to do is to seek you, Lord. Please be with them. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Yes.
That's a good prayer, Lace.
Thanks, dude. All right.
Like
so our mother, Towana K. Craner.
All
right. Yes.
Yep. She was born 1957, died in the magical year of 2020.
Right. We'll talk more about that.
Yes, we will.
It was traumatic.
So you're going to read the eulogy, right?
Yes. I will read some eulogy, and stuff. I thought we would start with, like, a little bit who she is, and then we'll talk a little bit more about her, and then we'll just go into stuff about the,
The year of 2020. That's
yeah,
like
well, we'll
the fo
start first when she got diagnosed
Oh,
and
yeah,
stuff, yeah.
absolutely.
Alright. So, Tawana K. Craner was 62, stepped into the arms of her savior on Friday, May 15th, 2020. She was born November 16th, 1957 in Marion, Indiana, to Thomas Sr. and Joan Philippi. Tawana's life was a radiant testimony to love, service, and faith. From the beginning, Tawana had a heart for people. Her passion for helping others led her to the University of Kentucky, where she earned a bachelor's at arts in social work, followed by a master's in social work. Never wanted to stop learning. She pursued post-grad studies at University of Georgia for marriage and family therapy because she believed in loving and supporting others. Tawana's love extended beyond, no, not that one. That was another part of it I was going to read. Her life work wasn't just a career, it was a calling. Tawana was a gifted therapist who walked alongside countless individuals and families through their hardships, offered wisdom, compassion, and unwavering belief that healing was possible. She saw people not just as they were, but as who God created them to be. To know Tawana was to experience pure joy. She had contagious laugh, a sassy wit, and a heart that embraced everyone. Her love for worshiping the Lord, was truly inspiring. Watching her surrender and worship taught others what it meant to give everything to Lord. She wasn't perfect, but her love was real, deep, and unwavering, and those who knew her felt it. Tawana was the heartbeat of her family. Her love, her free-spiritedness, and her laughter filled every room. Though we grieve, we do not grieve without hope. Tawana's legacy of love, faith, and service lives on in the lives she touched, in the family she adored, and in the countless hearts she shaped. Her life was beautiful offering, and now she rests in the arms of the one she worships so passionately. Well done, good and faithful servant.
Aw, I haven't
Right?
heard that for a while, so it kinda gets me a little
Right, it does. Well,
gets me.
I think in that, hold on, where are you gonna talk about? You talking about, like,
No, go ahead,
okay.
go ahead.
I think in that, definitely, like, mom did a whole bunch of stuff. She was very smart and stuff. But I think I
Mhm.
always, when I think about that, it reminds me of church, after church, how mom, oh my God,
No,
would pray with every single person known to
and
man.
we were like, "Can you hurry up? We're
Oh,
hungry." We were teenagers. Yeah, I
well,
actually
I
have
mean, we
that
didn't
down for one of the memories.
right? It just cracked me up, but when I was doing this and stuff, it was like people remember that kind of thing, and I think that's what helped. I mean, with this
Right.
podcast and just shaped my life, I think definitely, like, giving people time and stuff, and now when my kid's like, "Come on, let's go," like, I know I'm like, one, I'm like, "Oh, yeah," like, I remember how that was, but also, I now know that, like, I'm setting an example for my children
Right,
to
you
be like,
saw that and you modeled that behavior,
yeah.
like her praying and taking the time with people.
Right? And she really, like, she
Yeah.
really did love people. She definitely had a heart for that. And then also my another thing I wanted to say was, like, her worshiping. I used to make fun of her because she looked like
Yes.
Stevie Wonder, 'cause
She
she'd
put
be
her
like,
hands up.
she would do this number. I mean,
Right.
now I've become
I
Stevie
know.
Wonder
We
worshiping.
become exactly like her. Like, I stay after church for, like, an hour, and my husband and kids are sitting in the car, you're, like, waiting, and I'm like, "Oh my goodness, I'm my mom," like that, because
Right?
that's what she used to do, and driving me nuts.
Right? And now we became that person and stuff. But yeah, but I think now that I've learned more about mom and stuff, it now makes sense why she worshiped so, like, hardcore and stuff.
Right, and the
Like,
sicker she got, the more she
yeah.
was really open about it too,
Right,
She would be
yeah.
dancing in the aisles almost.
Right, she would. Right? I mean, at my
Yeah.
wedding and stuff, she was cutting a rug.
Oh, yeah, 4 hours straight. I remember that because I think I was on the dance floor with her.
Right? But, yeah, no, I think that those are 2 things that stood out to me and stuff. Anything
Mhm.
any thoughts on you to build up talk about mom's character? I mean, like, and who she was as a person?
Well, and, I put some memories down, and we were really close to her. I kinda put that, it just
Mhm.
brings back memories of how close we actually are. Like, people, when I tell them my mom died, they're like, "Oh, were you not close to her?" I'm like, "Well, what makes people think that I wasn't close?" But
Right?
we were so close. We were a really tight-knit, almost like what they would call, like, an enmeshed family.
Yeah.
We were always in each other's business, I
Uh-huh,
guess you'd
right?
say.
I mean, we would always be chilling in her bathroom 24/7 when she was getting ready and stuff. We
And we
didn't.
fought sit next to her at restaurants.
Right? We bought this.
Do you
You and
remember
Lauren did.
that? Me and
I
Lauren,
was too
it
young.
was
I was
like
just like, "These
knockdown,
people are
drag
crazy."
out fight. We
Yeah,
were sitting next to
yeah.
mom.
You all were royal rumbling it there, yes.
So that does, I mean, that, and honestly, like, I didn't have a whole lot of need for, like, girlfriends growing up, I
Right?
guess, when I was
Same here.
younger.
I thought something was wrong with me.
Me too, and Lauren's the same way, but I think it's because we were so close to our mother. We were
Right?
spending so much time with her.
Right?
I mean, that's just my theory on that.
I know, right? I mean, that's what I think. I think it's that plus, like, we were back then, we were close to our cousins, or I was. I don't know if
Yeah.
you were, because we're 7 years difference.
Yeah, I was a little bit. I used to play with them in the neighborhood.
Right? We had the Sunflower Club.
Oh, yeah. And then they stopped showing up, and I was like, Amanda, this is not working. You're gonna get kicked out. So I think I eventually ended up kicking her out.
Right? You got,
So
you got strict rules in the Sunflower Club.
That's
But
right.
yeah, I definitely think that too. We were very close to, I mean, Mom, looking back, Mom was a, a friend,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I would say more a friend than a
I know,
parent.
right?
Like, there wasn't a whole lot of discipline.
Right? No,
At
there
least
wasn't.
at least with me, there wasn't.
No, I wouldn't say, I mean, definitely not for me. I was just, but that's a whole nother story. But
Right.
I think in that though, Mom was like, I mean, like once she, passed away, we learned a lot more about Mom and stuff, and it made
We
more
did.
sense about
Mhm.
how she was, like it made sense to like, but she was, one thing she was like so like a light to be around. Like when we went shopping, stuff, everyone knew her, and it wasn't just
Oh,
because she was
yeah.
spending a lot of money. I mean, it probably was because she was spending a lot of money, but she also was like so personable.
Oh, she was.
Right?
Oh.
She was friends. I mean, she hung out with, like, the salespeople,
Well,
like,
she
she
was
would go
she was really outgoing too,
yeah,
and
super outgoing. None of us are
Right.
really as outgoing as Mom is.
No, Lauren maybe. Well,
Yeah.
Lauren is kind
Yeah,
of
Lauren probably has more
the most.
yeah.
Well, I'm not really that
No,
outgoing.
because she was like, when I go to parties and stuff, I don't really wanna talk to people,
Me
where
neither.
she was just like, "Oh, no, we are socializing." She got to know people. I mean, you remember, like, we would
Oh,
go
yeah.
eat, and it'd be, like, extra, like, 2 hours of her,
Oh.
like, socializing with the waitress and
I have a
stuff.
funny story about that. Were you at Ruby Tuesdays that one day where the waiter was like, "Oh, so what do you do for a living?" I
Uh-huh.
don't know why he asked that. Do you remember this
Right?
story? Okay, so he asked her what she did for a living, and of course, Tawana she just said like whatever was
Right?
on her,
Yeah.
whatever she was. She really had no filter, and the sticker she got, and there was no filter. She's like, "Well, I'm independently wealthy." I remember that.
Right, and everyone
And
was
we all just started laughing at her because I'm like, "Who says that? That's so
right.
funny." But she just was like, "What? It's
She was
true.
like a
It's true."
reality TV show person before, like, reality TV, like, she was one of those, like, Real Housewives,
I was
but,
like,
like, in a good way. She wasn't trying to flip over tables and be deceitful, but, like,
no, she was just like, "This is
this is
what
me.
it is,"
Yeah.
right? I thought that was funny. I got a kick out of that.
Right, yeah, no, definitely. She was a spitfire. I mean, I also remember is, when we went to Israel, and you know how, like, any person's been
Yeah,
to
I got that.
Israel, it's very strict, like, male,
Oh,
female
yeah.
stuff. Remember we
Mhm.
were at the temple, and they told her
It was a Wailing Wall
the
too, right?
Wailing Wall,
Yeah.
yeah, I forgot where. We were
There
at
were separate lines,
there were separate
men and
lines,
women.
yeah, and Tawana was like, "Oh, no," like, "I'm in the man." We're like,
I
"Mom,
do.
we as Americans, we get it, like, you trying to stand up, be a feminist, but, like, when we're in Israel, you gotta respect, like, stay in the woman's line, stop trying to be in the man's
But
line."
in her defense, the men's line was a lot shorter.
Right?
Remember that? And then she got in, and they're like, "Ma'am, you gotta get back over here." So she just had to get back in the
Right?
line again.
Right?
That was funny. And we got baptized there too.
We
Remember
did.
together?
Uh-huh.
In the freezing cold water. It was like 40 degrees, and we're all freezing.
Right, and there was
But
some,
it was
like,
really
animal
cool.
that floated by and stuff.
The Jordan River.
Uh-huh, yeah.
She always wanted she, like, held out to get baptized her whole life until we
Right.
went to Israel. What was it, 2006, I think?
It might have been.
Yeah, I
I
think it
don't
was
know.
2006, yeah. So that was a really cool trip, and the flight there, Tawana was everybody was rolling big with her, you
Right.
didn't go and sit in coach class
Oh,
when you
yeah,
go to
no.
Israel.
Right, well, which is I mean, but I think she just wanted everyone to be family. Like, it
Yeah.
wasn't just us. I mean, like, yeah, but, like,
Everyone, yeah, right.
we would go like, she would buy people expensive stuff. Like, she was just like, "If I have it, you can have it," like, "You can have it too. Let's all just
Like,
be"
"Those are cute jeans. Everybody grab a pair."
Right.
Do you
She
remember
was.
that? North Strip, that was in North Strip.
Right, but she became family to a lot of people. She brought in a lot of people
Oh,
and stuff.
she did, definitely.
She did
There
have
was
a
a
heart
lot
for
of people. Even after she passed away, there were some people like, "Oh, your mom, she counseled so
Right.
and so," that came up to me that go to my church too.
Right,
So I
yeah.
was like, "Wow."
I had a lot of friends that reached out, even ones I hadn't talked to for a while, being like, "I loved going on family trips with you," or she was such,
Oh,
a
yeah.
light and stuff. 'Cause
Family trips.
family trips, spring break, everyone took a friend.
Oh,
Everyone
yeah.
was taking
Remember
friends.
Jen? Jen loved going on family
Right?
vacation
So
with
did
us.
Tori. Tori loved it, dude. But I think that's just Mom's heart, is that everybody was family.
Yeah. Even
And
the nannies sometimes,
right. Oh, yeah.
remember?
Oh, yeah, no, definitely. And I think it helped me. I mean, like, I think it showed me like the love of to love other people and to bring other people
to,
in.
like, include them as part of your family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Oh, some other memories? Yes,
Yeah,
I
do you have
do. I do have some memories. I had to write some of them
I
down
love
here.
that you are so, like, you're, like, such the more, like,
Oh,
official, like, more, like
I have to be organized because then I can't, like I just, like my ADD just I got it's like ping pong, I got all these balls flying around.
Alright.
So, I remember when we were teenagers, me and Lauren we were kind of on the wilder side. I think you were about 6 at this
Yeah,
time,
I
at
was
that
young.
house in, on Geist,
Yeah.
and her and David would go out for a movie for 2 hours. We're like, "Jackpot, she's
Yes.
at the movie." Call all the friends. Before you know it, the whole high school's there. She comes home and there's like
Just from a movie, you guys
50.
are the dumbest.
There's like the whole high school there,
Yeah,
dude.
dude, it was hop
Of
I
course,
remember.
David's running, chasing everybody out, and Tawana's just like, "What's going on?"
Right?
Oh my goodness, that
You
was
guys
so
were
funny. I'm
the
like, "Why
most.
did I do that? 2 hours, like, what made me think?"
You would have everybody, dude. It was I mean, also our house was such a great 'cause we lived on Dice Lake and stuff, so it
Yeah.
would be but it was crazy how many people would, like, show up so quick because it would be legit just a
Literally in,
movie.
like,
They weren't
15
even going
minutes.
out for, like, movie and, like, dinner. It was just like
It was a movie. Everybody hurry up. And then, they stole a bunch of stuff
they
too. So,
did
and Tawana, she handled that.
punched holes in the
I
wall.
think she finally called the cops when they stole, like, her gun or something
Yeah,
like that.
right. Which, I mean, makes sense. You might wanna call someone on that
I
one.
know, and I think you were there at one of the parties when you were 6, weren't you?
I mean,
I
I was
think
in the
so.
whole
I don't
bunch
know
of
if you
parties.
remember, yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, I remember, but we
They
don't
ended up
need to
breathalyzing you, the cops did,
yeah.
didn't they? The Fishers police knew who we were. They're like, "I know you."
Right? Yeah. Fun time you had fun times,
Oh,
Lindsay, fun
yes,
times.
dude. I hope my kids don't do that.
Yeah,
Oh.
no. I mean, but I think you've also we look back at that and stuff, and we learned, I mean, like, stuff from it that
Oh,
our
yeah.
that makes us more vigilant for our
Like,
kids.
not leave your child at home when they're
Right,
15 and go to the movie theater, I
right.
guess.
That or somehow them knowing that not to have a whole party.
I know. Well, hey, you gotta take the most out of your opportunities when you're
Right.
15.
Oh gosh.
Oh, and I also wanted to bring up the Chicago trips too.
Okay, what about them?
They were
I
just
mean,
fun.
they were yeah,
They
I know.
started in the 2000s, remember? And
Yeah, we'd go down for a Thanksgiving.
yeah, you remember that?
And then we'd do Black Friday shopping and
Yes, and the
stuff.
Christmas Carol, and then after like 3 or 4 years, I was like, "Mom, we gotta get rid of the Christmas Carol."
Oh my
I've
god.
seen it a million times.
Dude, it is so triggering, the Christmas Carol. I mean, but one good thing is seeing it so much, I could be like, I can like people be like, "Oh, this happened I'm like, "That didn't happen the Christmas Carol." I've seen the hip hop Christmas Carol. I've seen the regular Christmas Carol.
There's a hip hop
We went to
Christmas Carol?
yeah, we went to hip hop
Oh my
Christmas
gosh,
Carol
I
one
don't
time.
remember that.
I
Isn't
did.
that weird how our memories are
Right?
kinda
Yeah.
different?
It was an all black, crew and everything. We
I
went
do
to hip hop.
not
Mom wanted to
remember that.
remix it.
Was I there that year?
Yeah, I know you were. Right? Isn't that funny?
That is funny.
But yeah, no, that I wonder why Tawana I mean, like, I guess she loved it?
She's a creature of habit. Remember
Right?
how many times we went to Clearwater Beach?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I had been going there since 1983 up until till she died, almost till, like, a few years after before she died.
Right?
So now I just can't go there anymore because 'cause
Right.
I'm just, like, over it.
Right? But it's supposed to be super nice now, but we
Yeah,
got
I
other
just I've
places.
had
There's
my
other places now.
dose of Clearwater Beach, Florida.
Right? It was. She was a creature of habit.
I know, the same place over and over.
Right? So
It's
funny.
funny.
Oh,
Well, I have some words too on grief too. Kind of like, I wrote a speech for her funeral.
uh-huh.
So I kind of pulled from that because I still actually have the paper.
Well, should we talk about the grief now, or should we talk first about, like,
Whatever
her
you want to do. Whatever you want to do.
I think, let's first talk about, like, when we noticed it.
Okay.
Because Mom so if you guys are listening or watching, Mom was I mean, like, she was very, like, good until she wasn't good. I mean, Mom
Yeah.
was always kind of, like, spacey,
Flighty kind of.
flighty
Yeah.
and stuff, but I just thought
She
it was
definitely
just part
was.
of her, like, personality kinda thing.
Yeah,
But
me
I don't know,
too.
I would say, I don't know, one, I believe we waited until, like, we could no longer, like, deny it.
Yeah, like she couldn't start her car and
Yeah,
didn't know her
that
address.
was the thing. Me and Mom were going I was living with
Mhm.
Mom, and we were going to work out, and we got in the car, and Mom just looked at me and was like, "I don't know how to start the car," and it's one of those push button ones, and I was like,
Wow.
"What do you mean you don't know how to start the car?" She's like, I don't know how to start the car," and I was like, "It's cool, Mom, like, it's real cool. Let's just trade, I will drive," and I think then that's when I was to Dave, I was like, we need to get her checked out. She can't even turn her car on."
So what year do you think that was? 2013?
I was in nursing school then.
Okay, so it
I
had
would
been
say it's
2012-ish.
yeah. When did you get married?
2011.
So, yeah, 2012 then.
So
So
that's when I noticed it, and she was 54 at that time.
yeah. So I would say that's because once she got diagnosed, but I think the problem is I feel like now looking back, I mean, like it's that was it hindsight or whatever they call it?
2020, hindsight's
2020. Yeah,
2020.
yeah. I think she definitely had a lot of more she started becoming a lot more forgetful, and we were just like, "It's just mom being mom," you know what I mean?
Mhm.
But I think it was definitely she would forget a whole bunch of stuff. But,
Yep.
like, look back because they say by the time you get diagnosed, it's been, like, 5 to 10 years of, like now it makes sense because mom would forget me a lot, like, especially a few years, like, when I was in middle school, so this was, like, 3 years before she got diagnosed, she would randomly, like, call me while I was in class in 8th grade being like, "Do you wanna get lunch?"
Oh, she forgot that you were in school?
And I'd be like, "No, mom, I'm in school." She's like, "Oh, yeah, okay, bye." But she did that several times.
Oh, that's interesting.
So I think looking back, I'm like, I just thought mom was, like, being ditzy and stuff, but I was like, "Mom also dropped me off." So, like, I mean,
Right, like, you should remember that
she
as
called me several or she'd be like,
so that was
"Oh."
2009 or so,
Yeah.
wasn't
No, it was
uh,
like no, not 2009. Was it 2? No, because it was 8th grade.
oh, yeah, so it was wow.
It was probably
Wow,
like
that's real early.
yeah, it was real early.
Goodness.
I would say, yeah, she would call me a lot, like, and then I got so many detentions because my phone would be vibrating, but I'm like, also, like, I think that's silly because I can't help my mom calling me, like, I don't know what to tell you. I
Well,
told her.
back then, it was, like, no cell phone usage.
Yeah.
I think now they allow kids to have cell
Or,
phones, I
like,
don't know.
if your phone vibrates, you don't get detention for it. By looking back, do you think there's anything you saw before she wasn't able to start her car?
I would say, like, in well, 2011 at my wedding, it was just like she was just out of it, like, she
Mhm.
wasn't her friendly self, she didn't know what to do, she went up to go light the unity candle and just seemed kind of like, "What am I doing?" I don't and I thought it was, like, stress, and
Right.
anxiety about the wedding. So, it was definitely my wedding, but I do have kind of a working theory too that contribute to maybe her Alzheimer's a little bit,
Right.
was when in 2012, I think it was, like, early fall, late spring, she fell off her bike, was knocked out, like, head first, hit her head,
Mhm.
black eyes, I think she passed out on the
Yeah, I think
concrete,
she
and
did,
somebody
yeah.
came by and picked her up and took her home. She was throwing up. I mean, those are obvious signs of a concussion,
Right.
some kind of brain injury. Well, she never went to the hospital 'cause she didn't like the doctors,
Yeah.
right? So, she just never dealt with that, and then shortly in February 2011 is when I'm like, "Ooh, there's something." She's just kind of aloof, There's something going on with her.
Right, that's very true to think about because I remember because I was living with her during that time and stuff, and she did, like I mean, when she got yeah, it did start kinda go down. I mean, the
You
thing
notice
is,
that too,
now
right?
we know I mean, now I read something that Alzheimer's can be triggered by, like, it
A
could so
TBI,
yeah,
right?
like some kinda head trauma and stuff,
Mhm.
and I mean, that's why, like, I mean, like, just period, that's why a lot of, like, athletes, like, football players and stuff are to be more prone to, like, dementia and Alzheimer's because of
It's like it could trigger it on
yeah,
quicker or something, like you may be predispositioned already, right?
yeah.
And then it triggers it for whatever reason.
Right. I mean, if you think about it, it's the brain, like it wires everything. If like you hurt your
Damage.
arm, you hurt any damage, kind of stuff like that, it sometimes won't like
Yeah,
heal back right.
that's why I'm so crazy about my boys getting on ATVs and, like, not wearing a helmet. I'm like, "Oh my goodness," I'm thinking, "Traumatic brain injury."
Right.
Ah.
Right. I
But
mean,
it's important, though. I don't
yeah.
think people realize your brain, like, if that's damaged, that could do a lot of
Right. It
could
can.
change your life
I mean, like
significantly.
people, I think get like personality like changes when they have real bad head like injuries.
Well, and that's kind of what at first I kinda saw with her, like, personality, like, she's more, like, introverted than what she was?
Right.
She was really outgoing, and all of a sudden, we're just like, "We don't wanna talk to anybody," so it was kind of odd? But there's a lot of things you rationalize things,
Right.
you
You
know?
make excuse. I mean, now we look back
"Oh,
and
it's
stuff.
this and that." I never thought in a million years it'd be early onset Alzheimer's.
Right? No one I mean, no one, because when mom got diagnosed, it was like, no one like, it was very rare, and people don't still this day don't really like, neurologists still have no clue, like, exactly
Yeah.
what to do with it. It's
There's not
kind
a
of
lot of there's
no.
not a lot of awareness out there.
Right, yeah, no, there's not.
In 2013, so she did go to the doctor in
Yeah,
2013, and she had a EEG, and they found a small vessel ischemic disease, which is, like, basically a telltale sign of
yeah,
Alzheimer's, moderate to severe.
yeah,
So that was in 2013.
right.
So that's probably when she couldn't start her car.
Yeah, no, it was, and then that's when she got diagnosed, but when she got diagnosed, that neurologist was not messing around.
That
He
was
was like
2015, which was
was it? Okay.
actually so 2013, 2015, we stopped going I don't know, there was no medical record between then.
Right,
So it's like I don't know what we did between then, but we didn't go to the doctor. So
right.
So 2015, yeah, she was officially diagnosed with early onset.
Yeah, I remember when she came home from that and stuff because I know they saw one neurologist and then they saw another one, and both of them were like, "Yep, no, she has early onset Alzheimer's," and it was, like, moderate. It was, like, bad pretty bad because I remember in the
Yeah.
recommendation notes, they were like, "She needs to have a new power of attorney, needs
Mhm.
to, you should start looking into, like, assisted limit,"
Yeah, it was
during that time.
severe. The actual wording was severe early onset Alzheimer's. Isn't that crazy? In 2015. She couldn't hardly I mean, she could write, but it was like
Right? I mean, I have the tattoo of my
right, that's what I was
mom's,
getting ready to
and
say,
this
the
took, like, a whole hour just to do "Love, Mom," where I was able to, like, and this is, like, 2 takes, like, "Love" was on one card, and then it took a long time, and then we got to, like, one that I was like, "Okay, I can read that," and then we did "Mom." So it
wow,
wasn't even,
that's
like, "Love, Mom" together, it was 2 separate ones.
just to write that little thing.
Yeah, I would say
So
it
the
probably took, like, an
significance.
hour,
Yeah. I mean, you're
and
isn't
that's
that
when she
crazy? In, like, less than 5 years, this is
mhm,
what we're dealing with, we're going from functioning to, like, we can't barely write in 4 years
right,
when the time we noticed it? It's
right, I mean,
crazy.
when was it? Yeah. So I'm trying to think, yeah, during that time, I was in nursing school, so I lived with Mom and Dave, but, yeah, it was just
And she would have panic attacks too, like, you remember she
yeah,
would
she had
throw up, and I'm
continuous
like
panic attacks, which I think is definitely
I think there was kinda small seizures involved too. I mean, what I know now,
yeah, right, I
looking
think so,
back,
yeah,
you know? So that's
right, but the
crazy.
thing is, it's like now I mean, like, we look back and we have to be like, "Okay, we didn't know better and stuff," but now I
Oh,
mean, this is why
no.
we're doing the
Right, I've
podcast
been in
to
nursing school, I've been a nurse for
yeah,
6 years, and now I'm like, "Oh, well, that was exactly what was happening,"
right, but you just think of, like because during this time, there was a lot of stressful things going on.
That's true.
So, I think
That is true.
also the stress around family stuff and other things that were going on, she had a lot of, like, stress outside stress.
And that's where we rationalized it, I think,
Yeah,
we're
we were
like,
just
"Oh,
like
it's this and that and that."
right? But, yeah, she
Mhm.
started getting horrible panic attacks, and that was yeah, and I think that was not helpful either.
Yeah, it's probably part of her brain changes,
Right,
now
yeah.
that I look at and then so it brings us to 2016 too. Which is kind of there's pivotal moments,
Mhm.
here, 16, 17, and 18
Yeah.
were pivotal years because certain things happen.
Mhm.
2016, I really know she couldn't write a little bit, and she couldn't follow the conversation super well.
Well, yeah, 2016 is when I got married.
Yeah.
So if you remember
She couldn't
that
follow the conversations at all. I'm
no.
like, "What is
Well, she was yeah, she was real bad. We had to I mean, like, you still had to lead her. It was like having a child, like, you had to lead her around places. I mean, I would just what comes to mind is my wedding, so that was, like, September 4th, 2016. I mean, like, she had to stay like, there had to be, like, a designated person watching her all the time.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I remember
Yeah.
her getting her hair done and all that, like, she was just like, "Ha, ha, ha,"
I
like,
had to take
she's
her to the bathroom.
right? I mean, Maggie's Zach's sister, because we were out I was out taking pictures with Zach, had to get her, like, fully dressed, like, put her underwear on and everything, like, she wasn't able to
Isn't that
dress herself.
crazy? That's crazy. Wow.
So that was 2016, mom wasn't I mean, she was what I can remember, she was talking, but, yeah, she couldn't follow, and most of the time, sometimes her words, like, what she was saying didn't make sense with the
It was like a
context.
word salad,
Yeah,
kind
it's
of.
word
That's
and
what I
she
said.
couldn't, like sometimes she'd be fine, other times she would not be, like, at all.
Or she wouldn't follow the conversation. Like, we'd
No.
be talking about
She
something,
was be
and she'd yeah, or she start talking about politics, and we're talking about
Yeah.
something, I'm like, "What?" Like, she started getting paranoia around this time
Yeah,
too.
she did.
Like, she thought she was telling me once about the people on the news station or something, and, like, I'm like, "What? What are the people on the news station?" Or had something to do with her and, like, the FBI, like, she was getting really weird
Right,
things in her head. I'm like, "Oh my goodness, we're"
right,
yeah, it
but
was
she did one thing that she did keep during that time was she did love to dance.
yeah.
My wedding, she danced the whole
She
time.
had some moves, man. Yeah, she broke out with some moves.
Right, she was.
She
So,
was.
like, she was, like that was one thing and I wonder because I don't know how mom was, like, in her younger years and stuff, we'll have to ask dad and stuff if she liked to
Oh, she
dance.
liked to wear hats too. When she
Oh,
was a little girl,
love.
she would wear hats. So it's like she reverted back to being childlike.
Right?
Because remember she'd start wearing hats towards
I
the
mean,
end, I'm
that's what
like,
they say with, like, any either early onset or late onset, they revert back to, like, their childhood,
"Oh, that's crazy."
and
Yeah,
that's
because
I mean,
it's
like, that's definitely what I mean, like, that's definitely what happened 'cause she forgot a lot of stuff by, like,
yeah.
because 'cause I'm trying to think. I took a
Mhm.
trip with her when I was pregnant with Vancouver, that was not until 2019 because Vancouver was born in 2019, I'm trying to think. Yeah, so I think, like
Oh, yeah, she was real bad by then,
yeah,
I'm
I think
sure.
2018, 2019. Do you have anything in between that time?
Well, 2017, her mother passed away, my grandmother,
Yeah.
Philippi. And that was pretty traumatic
I mean,
because we walked
yes.
in there. It was like a sudden thing. Like one moment she's up and talking, then she's like, psh, she just cardiac arrest
Right,
fell.
yeah.
And then they think it was a pulmonary embolism. But when we showed up, do you remember that to the
Dude,
scene?
super traumatic.
Horrible. She was intubated, first of all, and there was blood
And they were doing
everywhere.
CPR at the same time.
I mean,
It was a
it was
mess.
just like one of the like what you see on the movies. And
Yeah.
she saw that. She didn't, I don't think she knew what was going on.
Yeah,
But then
she
when
was
we got there, she knew what was going on.
right, yeah.
Because she saw her mother on the floor there and blood all around it. And that was just, remember, she was just hysterical. Grandpa's hysterical. It was a nightmare.
Yeah, right. But I think, yeah, that also, I mean, she just had a lot
Mhm.
of things that kind of like boom, boom, boom on top. And so it probably made it worse and stuff.
And then 2018, her father died,
Yeah,
which is our grandpa. And that was really, she was so, so close to him.
right. I
And
think that was okay. So that's the time I took her to
18.
Texas to go see Grandpa.
Oh, yeah. I remember
And
the
that was
pictures.
so I was pregnant in 2018 and 19. But yeah, so and that is one thing when you have a adult human being that you're flying with has early onset Alzheimer's and
Oh,
people
man.
that was I mean, one, we did give her some medicine, so it helped a little bit, but yeah, I got to like get through like TSA. Like people did like the government, I mean not government, but like TSA helped, so I didn't have to get through, I didn't have to wait in line and stuff. But it was very hard to by that time. I mean, she wasn't dressing herself. I had to take her to the bathroom. She did not pee or poop on herself
Yeah, she wasn't
yet.
incontinent yet.
She wasn't incontinent yet, but I had to help her like take her pants off, put them back
What
up.
about showers when you were there? Did you have to give
I
her a
didn't give her,
shower?
I mean, we were only
So
there
she
for
know how
like
to do
3
it?
days, but I think
Oh,
by
wow.
that time, I think Dave was giving her baths.
Wow.
So I didn't have to do any of that. But she did have trouble like wiping herself. So this is by
Mm.
that time. But traveling with her was a big thing because it's hard to take someone out that's, like I said, a grown adult, and then also people I mean, I was on the plane and people are
Ugh.
thinking that she was drunk. They were asking what was wrong with her, and at this time, I mean, like, it was
Oh
just
my
a
god.
lot, and I think I snapped a lot of people, and I was like, "No, she has early onset Alzheimer's."
She
I'm like,
doesn't look
"Oh."
that way,
She
you
doesn't I
know?
mean, no, because I mean, Dave and I, we all worked to, like, make her look better and stuff, and we put, like, clothes on her, but she still was kinda, like, hunched over, and she would just be like, "Ah, blah, blah,"
And
like
she would say things
oh,
like a Tourette syndrome coming out loud.
uh-huh,
She did that in church once too in, like, 2017, and some lady in front of us was like, "You need to be quiet. You need to" started yelling,
right,
and I'm just like, "Course I'm protective." I'm like, "She has Alzheimer's."
right,
And the lady just turned around, whipped her head back around. She
right.
don't go to the church anymore, praise the Lord. But I was like, "Oh my goodness." You don't know where people walk from,
Right,
so, like, don't be so critical too. That's
yeah,
another
I would
side
say
note.
yeah, side note, but yeah. No, it was a lot, I mean, I think I was, like, 20 weeks pregnant and then had mom that I took down because we wanted to see grandpa before he passed away, and he was in Texas and stuff,
And that was a big
and that was
traumatic event for
oh,
her
yeah,
because you remember at the funeral his funeral, and Marion, she was, like, hanging over the coffin crying. When they like, pry her away from the
right,
coffin.
yeah.
I'm like, "Oh, no," and that just I feel like that just made it worse, you know? That just accelerated it.
Right. I mean, I think a lot of those
Stress,
things and
obviously.
stuff did, yeah. I mean, it's just really hard to see how mom was I mean, like how we described it before, and then how it just slowly, like, progressed where, like, she
Mhm.
wasn't dressing herself, wasn't there was, like I mean, like, she wasn't the person she used to be.
And it's like, you look at that and I'm like, "Oh my goodness, I don't ever wanna be like that. I think
Right?
I'd rather die." I know that sounds very, like, wow, the
But it's just not a good
dramatic.
quality of life.
No, no, losing your mental, like, faculties and all that stuff.
Right?
Ugh, it's crazy.
Right? Because I mean, she was still, like, I mean, like, she was still there moving and stuff, but it was hard. I mean, also, it was hard I don't think she was combative at this time.
No, not yet. About 2019, she started
Yeah.
getting a little bit more when
Yeah,
she
she
went to
started
memory care.
yeah, but there was a time before she got to memory care where she was a little combative. Like, I remember in Texas, I had to, like how I put, like, Vancouver and Zara down to sleep. Like, I had to, like, be in there. I had to, like
Yeah, if you
I
forced
sang
her to
to
do
her.
stuff
Uh-huh, and I had to, like
she didn't wanna do, that
yeah, I had
was
to, like, pat her, like, "It's gonna be okay," and then, like, I left the room
oh
and
my
stuff.
goodness, wow,
So, yeah,
yeah.
it was like it was a I mean, it was a lot, but yeah. So, I think even that was 2009 to 18, 19. Yeah, by then, she was already like, you had to put her down to sleep, and you had to, like, sing to her, and
Wow.
but once she went
Mm.
I mean, I gave her medicine too and stuff, but then that's also it happened so quick, but I think it was also so much, like stress that was happening during this time and stuff, and so much still denial. How where were like,
Mhm.
not like where were you, but like mentally, where were you like during this time?
Well, I
Where were
mean,
you?
when
I know
she
where
was
you were.
first diagnosed, like in 2013 to 15, I
Yeah,
had my 2 boys. So I
yeah,
was like a newly married mother of 2, and I was so overwhelmed by that. So then, she's getting sick. So I was kind of on autopilot,
yeah. Oh no, I mean,
essentially.
you're telling me. I
And
know,
and
I
it's
get it.
hard to pull memories from that period, especially 2020. It's like really hard because it was
Hmm.
so traumatic. Yeah, so I'd say autopilot's kind of where I was at.
Right.
And then in 2019, she went to the memory care in July. So then that's when it just got, oof,
That's when it
real
hit
heavy.
you because by that time the kids were
Yeah, they were older. I think they were like school aged.
right. Because I mean, like I consider my kids old, and my oldest is 6. I told someone the other day that my kids were grown.
Yeah, Zara was pregnant, or you were pregnant with her in 2020, right?
Yeah,
When
right,
this
why
was
mom
going
yeah,
on.
why
That's what I thought.
before mom
Okay.
but yeah, now, I mean, it is, like, once you're out of that, like I mean, once they're I mean, Vancouver's now 6, so he's very in my view,
No,
he's self-sufficient.
absolutely. 6 is when you wait till they get 9 and like 11. You're like, oh,
Right,
these are like little adults running around.
right. So, yeah,
So
no,
you got to be careful.
how was it so yours would say when mom got checked into memory care,
Oh, yeah.
what
That's,
was your thoughts when what did you think?
um,
Like, going to memory
mm,
like,
I wasn't a
just mom
huge
being
fan of it, to be honest
yeah,
with you. I struggled with guilt, like leaving her in abandonment, like leaving her there. Cause I remember the first day she spent the night, she was up roaming the halls, banging on the window
right,
saying, David, like screaming our stepdad's name. And she didn't sleep the whole night. Like
right.
I felt like she thought we abandoned her, just like dumped her off and left her and, you know,
Mhm.
never came back. So, and up till the point she died, I struggled with that. And that's what made it so like stressful
Right. I mean, it was
for
hard
me person.
'cause it was just hard having her in memory care, but it's one of
Yeah.
those things, like, that it's like we weren't able to we were at our we didn't have any more resources, and I think it was starting to get, like, dangerous because they had, like, stairs and stuff, like, mom
Yeah.
wandering at night and stuff.
And I think David was he was done,
Right. I mean, which
you know?
I get to a point I mean, like, I get to a point, yes, it's just we didn't think we had any other and the place we picked was good. It's
Yeah.
just it is, like it is it's memory care, so it's going to be different than, like
Confining.
it's
I
gonna be
think that's the best
confining,
word. It was
and
very confining.
it's not the best choice, but I think I, by that time, could not I mean, like, I could not help because I had Vancouver who let's see, I think he was, like, 6 to 9 months when
Oh,
mom was
yeah.
in
Your
memory
kid,
care,
he was real little. I remember
and
he
I
was
was
little.
still working and stuff, so, like, I couldn't I already helped like, I helped take care of mom because thank the Lord, once I got married to Zach, I was like, "I really wanna go part-time," and he was like, "Okay," like,
Yeah,
"If you
I
can do
don't
it, go
oof.
part-time." So on my days off, I took care of mom, even pregnant and everything, but by the time I had Vancouver, I just wasn't able to
I know. I
take care
completely
of her.
understand that.
So the thing is, it's like, it was just was it the best thing? Do I wish I could have? Yeah, but it's just like, sometimes we honestly don't
Neither
have the
one of us
resources.
could really. I
Yeah,
mean, looking back though, if had have known 2020 would have happened and been the year of, the C word,
right?
then I would have said, maybe we could get her, it's so easy to look back now and say, I would have done this different or
Right.
something,
Well, plus we weren't able to make medical decisions for mom.
Yeah, well,
That
that was
and
an issue.
to be
Yeah.
honest
I
to
know.
be honest,
Exactly.
I mean, like, we probably could have, but also at that time, we weren't able to make the medical decision, which now looking back and stuff, I think
Hmm.
it was the Lord also just, giving us telling us, like, we didn't have control of this
And I
stuff.
think that's you're right, and that's I think what's so hard about it is, like, it wasn't our decision, you
Yeah.
know? We didn't really I don't even feel like we had a say in do we have a say in it?
I
Maybe
don't
we
think
did, I don't know.
I don't know, I don't think we did, but we did I think we did the best we could because we hung out, like, 'cause I mean, any of my free time, and I know any of our free time,
We were
we
there
were
at the
with
facility
yeah, we
too.
were there, I mean, till the time I had
Feeding her
yeah,
3 days a week, yeah.
right? I mean, so I think that was I mean, that's what we could do, and that's I mean, I think looking back, was it hard? Yes, it was very hard, but, I mean, I think the Lord gave us a good I mean, the people that worked there really
Mm.
loved mom.
Oh, they were very
They
kind.
were
The
very
director
kind.
was an awesome lady. Now, the director of nursing was a little cold
Not
and
our
callous. Yeah,
not our
but she was
favorite, but mom was taken care of. It's just it's not ideal situation, but it was
no.
I feel like the Lord was kind in that he gave us a good place. It was smaller. the staff loved mom. They would dance with her. They would,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
so I think that gave us
Mhm.
comfort, and I think it's like, I don't know. I feel like sometimes when I told people like, "Oh, and then we put her into memory care," one, we have to also be like, you know, this is what we had to just surrender and give up, and this is what, we had to.
For I think it was about 10 months, didn't we?
Yeah,
Like, we were bringing our small children to her facility at least 3 or 4 days, maybe
yeah,
5 days a week.
right, all the time. I mean, I was pumping in
Like,
there.
that was
I
a
was doing.
lot to
Yeah,
manage, and then we had to feed her, and it took, like, an hour to do it
yeah,
at least, because she would lock her jaws when she didn't
right.
wanna.
Because by the time she got into memory care, she down I mean, this is before COVID. She was already, like, humming, dancing, rapping.
Like, she was walking, like, shuffling, her
Yeah,
gait was like she
she
was
was
barely walking. I mean, it
yeah,
was
she wasn't
bad.
herself at all and stuff. It did
No.
take a lot of care by that time.
A very small fragment of her was left.
Yeah,
And I specifically remember when I was feeding her one day, there was, like, a cross they had on the wall, and she, like, folded her hands like this, and she was going, she couldn't
right,
talk,
yeah, she
and
couldn't.
she'd look up at the cross and go like this, and I couldn't. I had no clue what she said, but she would say, "Lord, Lord," like that, and then
Uh-huh,
she would just start crying.
yeah.
So it's like she kind of was aware of her suffering maybe a little bit.
Right. I think they have definitely, I think what I've learned from, like, I mean, I guess just watching mom and stuff is that they have, like, glimpses of, like, they do remember some stuff, but they by the time mom was where she was, I mean, like, mentally and stuff, it was so bad she wasn't able to talk.
And there was some things I could understand.
Yeah,
Like, she
right.
would be like she wouldn't always wanted to come back with me. She'd be like, "Can
Oh,
I go
yeah.
live with you? Can I go I'm like, "Mom, you can't go live with me. That
Right.
would be kidnapping. I
Right.
can't just take you."
Right, and,
But
like, the thing is we wanted to, it's just we didn't at the time have the resource, like, it's just it was a very hard thing to go through because
yeah,
we were helpless in it. We saw our mom just I mean, like,
yeah.
we were young women. I mean, I guess we're not young women. We are young women. I'm calling her we're young women. But we
I'm, like,
also have
middle-aged, though.
right? I mean, I'm 34, about to be 35. But it was just hard, like, and we couldn't it's something that I think during that time I had to learn to, like, surrender.
Well, and I think that was the time where I really got like, my relationship with the Lord was, like, it's starting to be the rubber meets the road.
Right, yeah.
Like, I said I was a Christian before, and I was following the Lord, I believed in Jesus, I was going to heaven, whatever. But it was really, like, setting in, like, I needed to walk with the Lord, and I needed his comfort at that time because, I mean, I'm sure you had the same thing.
Right? Oh, yeah, no, definitely. There was
It's just
nothing
like
else we could
every day
do.
you wake up and you're like, "Is it gonna be the day? We're gonna
Right?
find it," it was just day by day
Day by day.
for, like, what, 10 months, and then COVID,
Yeah. Dun, dun, dun.
2020.
That's when,
It always gives me goosebumps when I talk about that because it
you
was
remember the day when we got
awful.
well, you went and I got phone call because Vancouver and I weren't allowed.
You didn't go that day, remember?
Yeah,
Because
we were
something
heading that
happened,
way.
and then you turned around or
Yeah,
something,
because you
didn't you?
called me. So we're heading that way. You got there before me
It was in
because you lived
March
close. Yeah.
2020. So, that was the last time they weren't letting people visit. You had everybody had crowd up in front to visit, which doesn't make sense because if everybody has COVID, then why are we all
Well,
crowding
at first
together?
it was just video visits, wasn't it, or something?
No, at first in March, it was you could
Okay.
come to the facility up front, and
Yeah.
they crowded everybody in one room, which logically, if you have a virus and we're
Right.
all
Plus you're with a
crowded,
whole bunch of
makes
people
no
that
sense.
like Alzheimer's. It was a memory care
Oh, dude,
unit.
it was so
So,
crowded, they
like,
packed us in one room,
and
and
that's
she
not
was bawling her eyes out,
all
and I'm
right.
like, "Mom, what's wrong? What's wrong?" And she's just, "Ah, I'm g" and the only thing I could make out was she's like, "I'm going to die."
Right.
That's all she said, and this is what, 2 March, April like, 2 months before she
Right.
actually was passed. It's almost like she had this premonition a little bit,
Right.
you
I
know?
mean, probably.
So
I
I
mean,
don't
that's
know,
very valid.
it's one of those things you don't know until you get to that point in
Right.
your life.
Right. Yeah. What was your feeling? I mean, like, when she said that? I
I
mean,
was just like,
it was already in shock because we were like, "What
well,
is
this was
going
the
on?"
beginning stages of this virus coming out,
Uh-huh,
mysterious
right.
virus, so it was kind of like I'm like, I'm thinking like the world is falling apart. My
Right.
mom's crying and screaming, everyone's freaking out. It was very eerie, and I just sat there with her for probably about an hour, and she's bawled and bawled and bawled, and the director of nursing was like, "You need to move to this other room because she's upsetting the rest of the patients." So we sat there, and I'm like, "Mom," and, I tried to hug her and stuff, and she was just bawling,
Right.
and I was like for an hour, and then I finally was like, "Mom, okay, I gotta leave," I didn't there wasn't she just cried for an hour,
Yeah.
and then that was the last time I had seen her conscious, awake, and walking,
Mhm.
pretty much,
Yeah.
and the next time we saw her was beginning of May
Right. Was
when
that
you and I walked in the
yeah,
door,
but
so
you
2
had to
months in
did you ever
between.
have any video? Because by
We
that
did.
time, they had video, and that was by that time, she was, like, bed rest pretty much.
By that time, she would have, like, she busted her head right here and right
Yeah,
here.
she
She was
kept
just
falling.
bleeding. Blood
Yeah.
was dripping down her face. She had black eyes.
By
It
that
was
time, it was just all right. I mean, the whole thing was
yeah,
a big cluster curse, like just COVID. And then also that, not being able to see her video was not like when you have a child, not a child, when you have a parent that has, or a significant other that has Alzheimer's, like they
yeah.
rely on, now we look back, they rely on that, like being there, that
The
one-on-one,
person
the
interaction.
person. Because by that time, she had no clue who we were. And she's looking at a phone. She don't know how
Well,
to.
FaceTime, she was going like this.
She was
She
going,
didn't
and then by that time, she wasn't talking. She was just like,
yeah, she heard the voice, but she didn't know to look at the phone. Like,
right,
that was
yeah,
just like I don't even know if she could actually see, honestly.
right,
So that
right. We
was
don't, yeah,
completely worthless other than hearing our voice.
right.
So that's why
And
and I'm
then
go ahead.
May, we'll
Was it
just,
May?
yeah,
Yeah.
May was
Was
when,
it May, the beginning of May?
beginning of May.
So that 2 months went by,
Yes,
and it was awful.
it was, yeah,
Um, and I don't wanna say resentment, but it makes me just kinda, you know what I mean? Because I feel like the last 2 months of my mother's life was taken away from me, and
yeah.
I can
Well,
never
let's
get
talk
that back.
about it. Yeah,
You know, I can never get that back
right,
because of these lockdowns where they put in people in the rooms, by themselves, and they all essentially died alone.
right. A good, yeah,
I mean, we saw this in the hospital.
yeah.
Near
Oh no,
labor
I
and
saw in the
delivery.
hospital. Yeah,
Yeah, they would just put them in there, shut the door, and that's it. And it's very personal to me. Do you know what I
yeah.
mean? So, the C word makes me angry.
Is that why you keep calling it the C word?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it was a very hard time, and it was just like
Yeah.
it's a lot. Yeah, you look back, and there's a lot that was taken from us during that
Right.
time.
It
And
was.
I'm guessing there's a lot of people who've gone through not exactly
Oh,
that,
yeah.
having a mom that had early onset Alzheimer's, but that was locked down and couldn't see someone that they needed to see and stuff. And I think the lockdown, I think there was just so much fear that the fear overshadowed like the humanness
Oh, my goodness.
of what's
Lacey.
going on.
It did. And then being with patients in the hospital and trying to
Right,
FaceTime and like they're taking their last breath. So my mother wasn't the only person who was dying.
right,
I was on those COVID floors
yeah,
as a
right,
nurse.
yeah,
And these people were dying. We weren't doing anything. You either go be a DNR, be on a ventilator, or you go on,
right.
oxygen. That's it. So
And then there was
everybody was
also,
dying around me, essentially.
right, and then what was it? I don't know. When do we? Was it 3 days before mom passed that we got the
Yeah.
call?
It
I
was a
just got
Monday. She
random
died
call.
on Friday.
Okay,
And so I think it was like the Sunday or Monday,
yeah, I
maybe.
remember we did Mother's Day with her, but it was
Right.
it was such a fight to even see her those 3 days. Like they told us to come in because they thought she was gonna pass away that day.
Yeah, I remember. So they let us come in, and then the director of nursing, bless her heart, she said, "No, you're putting the residents at risk." I remember her
Yeah,
specifically saying that, which we didn't have any contact with the patient, or not the patient, but the
they're
other
all in their
residents.
rooms.
Yeah, they were all locked in their rooms. These people could not go out of their rooms. It's like a
Yeah,
tiny little room, smaller than the studio.
yeah.
So we had no contact. Remember the entrance or
Yeah, and we
they
went to,
brought
like,
us in
yeah, they went, like, through,
right
like, a
next to her
fire.
room.
Yeah,
And then they made us gown up on all this with all this PPE stuff, personal protective
yes,
equipment. We had no contact, so we're not putting anybody in danger. And this woman felt, bless her heart, she felt that she needed to take our time away from our dying mother.
right.
I had to really pray about that one after that. That was, I was not happy about that at all.
Yeah, no, it was, and then, like, they did get her out of the bed by,
Yeah,
but
they
she
did.
was, by that time, mom was, like, probably, like, 100 pounds.
Oh my goodness, that first day, remember
Yeah,
we walked in, Lacey? Oh,
she was totally different from the last time I
I
saw
was
her.
in shock. I'm like,
Right,
she's like tiny fresh, she's like
right,
barely awake.
barely awake.
It was a nice day, I remember.
It was a pretty day.
Oh, she said something. Do you remember what she said? She said, "Hi, I'm so happy you girls are here."
Yeah, she did say that, right?
Remember?
Uh-huh,
Clear as day.
yeah.
Like, she wasn't even nonverbal. She was nonverbal at
Yeah, this
100%.
time she was just, like, weird noises she was making,
And
and
I'm
she had a
like,
lot of, like, shakes and stuff.
but she was so happy and she said that, and I think that's a gift from the Lord.
Oh, yeah,
You
no,
know what I mean?
definitely.
Like,
Oh,
he
yeah,
gave us that moment
right.
because we knew
Because
it was honing
after that,
in.
it went downhill.
Yeah. So
Those
then the
days.
next day we couldn't come because what
COVID,
yes. But then the following day they let us back.
right? But I don't know why, like, I don't remember, I just remember, like, I think someone tested positive or something.
Oh yeah, that's another fun topic.
Right.
Right, because they were testing her
Yeah,
for
they were
COVID,
tested, yeah,
like,
and we
what,
couldn't
2 days
refuse
right
it.
before she died, too.
Yeah, they tested her for COVID because I guess it was, like, state policy or United States policy, I don't know.
Well, yeah.
Even though she was going to pass anytime soon, they were like, "No," we couldn't you couldn't it was illegal to refuse it,
And
even though
I
she was
remember being mad about
just,
that
like,
too.
freaking in the bed, just not talking, comatose. I think even during the last time when she was on hospice no, palliative. Hospice palliative is when you're
Yeah,
gonna
like
pass away.
24 hours before she died, I remember sticking the nasal swab up there, and
Yeah.
I looked at them, and this is where all of a sudden you get a lot of courage when you're going through something, and I said, "Why are you testing her for COVID? She's dying. She's
Right,
not spreading COVID. She can't even move." And they're
right,
like, "Well, yeah," and they gave what you just said, "Da-da-da, state
right,
policy." So, yeah, that really rubbed me the wrong way, and then wearing the PPE in front of
right,
her, she just like, "I don't know who you are," I felt like
right.
so
But,
I
like, it
took them
was
off.
well, plus also, I think what was hurting about what was, like, annoying or, like, you know, hurting kinda was that we had a relation with her before, and then suddenly she was just, like when COVID happened, it just took all, like people didn't see people for being people. They were like
Mm,
it's kinda like in life where people see people as for
yeah.
their sins and stuff, like, it was like,
It's like all
"You could
this stuff on
you
you.
could give us COVID," and we're like, "None of us have COVID." I mean, me and you
Oh,
were working
yeah.
in the hospital, so we knew we didn't have COVID because we had to
Oh,
get tested all the time,
I was, like, in the trenches in the
right? We
COVID. I
had
was
yeah, I got
swimming in
yeah, like, and
COVID.
we were getting tested, so we're like, "We do not have COVID," like, and stuff, but it was just like people were so I mean, like, it was just such a time you think about where it's like fear can really do some
Fear
damage.
fear was so damaging that they prevented you from seeing your dying loved one.
Right,
And,
yeah,
like, let's if you sit here and think about it, we're in 2025 now. That's insane.
right?
What? But that's what everybody went with it, and they were just like, "Eh, didn't bat an eye."
Yeah,
It's crazy, and it
during
makes
that
me
time.
mad.
Yeah, there was but yeah, that's I think was also hurtful during that time is like we had a relationship before and then she was
It's
just like,
gone,
"No, you
right.
can't. You have to have PPU." I was like, "We are in the room. We are educated. We understand the risk and
Right.
benefits."
It was like an isolated room
Right?
almost, like
Once we leave the room, we will put all our people
exactly,
Lindsay and
right.
I will. I don't know about Lauren, but
No, I
I
don't think
can't
she ever put PPE
she
on.
never
She
did.
did, she put the gown on once, it was, like, hanging off of her.
Yeah, no, she
Lori
would
is
not wear a
not
mask.
gonna follow the rules,
Yeah.
like,
She did not
She
she wouldn't wear the mask, but, we understood the assignment,
Mhm.
like, if we left the room,
Exactly,
we would
yeah.
put all this stuff on, but we are inside. We have all made acknowledgement we're taking our PPE stuff
No
off.
contact with any of the
Uh-huh.
residents,
We
not
have
one time.
right? No. We have free will. We have, like you know what I mean? Like and the thing is the aides that came in to, like, turn her and stuff,
Oh, they were so
I know,
sweet,
they were
though.
so sweet, but
I
they
love
had
them.
the actual like, the legit mask and all that and stuff, and we backed away, like, we didn't, like and the thing is we took precautions. I think it
We
was
did.
just taking the human view out of the thing,
It
which
did,
hurt too.
it, like, sucked it out. It wasn't like not only do we lose control over everything and just it was just like everything's it felt like everything was stripped away from you,
Mhm.
your decision making, everything.
Right,
That's kind of what I felt like, and then it just made me more feistier, to be honest with
right. I mean, it
you.
does. I mean, because the only other thing you have by that time is because 'cause you're not feeling seen, heard, or loved,
No,
is you
no.
do go back to that anger
Like
kind
a
of because
primitive kind of
yeah,
like,
because you're like
"What is going on?"
this is my loved one that I love, and they're slowly like, she was slow I mean, by this time, she was bed rest, had bed sores, pressure
Oh,
ulcers,
geez, that was
being
yeah.
turned was just horrible, like, just horrible feel like, it was
It
horrible
was.
to see, like, the person you love that we talked about in the beginning that was full of light
The bed sores would
had bet
got me, dude.
uh,
You were there with me in that
when they
moment,
turned her,
and her bed and their eyes started rolling back in her head, and I'm
right?
like I looked at you, Lacey, I remember looking at you, and I was just pouring crying.
Right?
Oh, that was awful. I'm like, oh, because it was painful to turn, because when you're dying,
Yeah,
I think your body gets kinda stiff,
yeah.
like, that's just what I've noticed with other
Right.
patients.
Yeah, and she was by this time, she was on palliative care, so she was getting, like, some morphine, but still,
I
it's
think
just
Ativan too, right?
yeah,
That should
Ativan, but the thing is with palliative care, it's like unless you've been in there, it's hard to unless you've had a significant other that's had palliative care, it's hard to experience and hard to describe because you can't even to give someone water is to prolong their life.
yeah.
So we
To wet
had to
their
make
mouth, all that stuff
yeah,
is
to do, like to wipe
oxygen.
yeah, all those things prolong life. So when you sit there and you're, watching your significant other, I keep calling watching, your mom pass, like, slowly die, and what you wanna do is give her water, but then it's also giving her that water prolongs this agony, this pain she's feeling, the pain
Yeah.
to breathe, and so, like, it's such a hard thing to watch, to decide. Because by this time we were, Dave wasn't in there. Maybe he was. I don't remember. But we were in there and we had to like decide, like we could give her water or we could not, like every day. Like it was so hard driving home.
Yeah, because she would go like this sometimes, like,
Yeah.
like stick her mouth out. I remember
Right.
that.
And it's so hard. Like I remember the drive homes is what got me because I tried to say, like I was crying, but like
Because it all comes out.
it comes out when you're by yourself in the car.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's like, what do like, and then like and then we have to go back to being moms.
That was the
wives.
hardest. You had to be engaged with your family, but your mom's, oh gosh, yeah, that was,
Right.
I think I disassociated a little bit now
Right.
looking back. I was just completely like gone. Like,
Right.
oof.
I just like powered through it. I was just in like a
That's
okay.
kind of
Yeah, we did.
It's like compartmentalizing. A little
Very
bit.
compartmentalized it, but like anytime a call, it was so hard to during those 3 days to like sleep because anytime they could call.
Goodness, yes.
I remember going on. I was on 69 when they called when they're like, I think she's going to pass away like the last day. I remember I was going 100 miles per hour on 69, being like, "It's not today."
Was
like,
that the Friday? Because
Yeah,
she died
that
on
Fri-
the
yeah.
Friday the 15th of May. Yeah.
Yeah, but like just waiting by the phone constantly was a hard thing.
Knew it was going to happen. It was almost like a slow torture.
Right.
It was emotionally.
Yeah.
Like it was just like, when is it going to happen? It's not happening yet. And you're just like,
Because by that time,
limbo.
I personally just wanted her to go. Like I didn't really want to
No,
prolong
I did
it.
too. I absolutely did too.
I didn't like, so it was hard, it was hard decisions we had to make.
Well, I lost, I mean, I never really had this whole like healing was going to happen, and I know a
Yeah.
lot of people think that, and it's not that God cannot heal, but I never felt truly in my spirit that it was going to
Right.
be a healing kind
Right.
of thing.
But I also like, this is, I don't know if this is right. I don't know if this is wrong, but during this time of mom, in her sickness and passing away, I learned a lot about mom and who like the stuff she gone through and
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
in my heart, I felt like she wasn't going to like survive. Like, and I also wanted that for her because I feel like she'd gone through so much stuff in her life that was haunting her.
Yeah.
And that she, like just felt like shame for her. That I think I didn't like, I don't know. I just didn't feel
No, I
the
definitely
sense
agree.
of
That's-
healing. Like I felt like she needed to just go to heaven.
No.
You know what I mean?
I
Like,
was in the exact from the very beginning of all this, and then, but poor David in there, he's trying to think of healing things, and
Right.
God love him. But I'm like, it's just, let go.
it was like by that time, it was a peace. And I think
Right.
you
That's
were,
what
okay,
I
you
had.
were, but were you, yeah, you were there when mom passed away. Lauren, was it you or Lauren?
I was the third one to show
okay,
up.
so you were like right when she took her last breath. So
Yeah,
you weren't there when
11/27.
because palliative care had like someone like singing songs to her, which was great. Like,
What was it? The Mercy Me song?
yeah, I can only imagine. She got
I
done.
came after that. Right?
Yeah. So the person got done. So that Friday, I got there early. Dave left to take a shower and stuff. And and right. And but yeah. And so the rest of the time, I mean, I just like prayed, played worship music and stuff. And then the palliative care nurse came in, which they did a really good job. But I mean, pretty much all you could do is he was like, well, we have, like a music service and like that she'll just be like on the iPad because she can't come in. But do you want her, and she'll sing whatever songs and stuff. And so that was a beautiful moment to just, she just play, like any kind of songs I could think of, mom. But the thing that got me, and I still this day cannot fully listen to, I can only imagine.
Oh, I can't either. I know.
Is like, so she sang the song just straight, just like guitar, acoustic. Yeah, guitar. And just by the end of the song ended. And mom was like, like, and then it just
was
like.
she the apneic? Like
apneic. And then she just took a deep breath. And I was like, oh God. It's happening. And I remember being like, deuces, bye. I gotta go. Like, so I just clocked out. And then I was like, oh my
she
God.
was breathing relatively,
Yeah, she
like
was,
shallow, maybe, and
shallow.
then
And then like, but she was just
sporadic,
like, yeah. And then suddenly, and then I was like, why am I the only person in here right now? So in hurry, but thank the Lord. Like, then Lauren came in and then, but like, it was just like, and then there'd be like 5 minutes not breathing and then again and stuff. It was just.
That's hard to hear too. If you've never heard somebody actively dying, it's very like gasping for you. That's essentially what it sounds like.
Right. Yeah. And I think during that time, was it yesterday? We were all just like, Mom, just go.
Oh, yeah.
And she did. She tried to hold it. Like, you could tell she was trying to hold on, but it was just like, we just kept being like, Mom, just go. Like, we are fine.
Because she was still doing it when I got there. Right?
Yeah.
So
And
I
it
don't
was
know
just
what the
like
time lapse
but I
between.
think also she was just so worried about Lauren and stuff, and we're just like, "Lauren will be fine." Like, just go like
Well, you were she did this in front of you, right?
Uh-huh.
She could not move herself, and
Yeah.
then randomly, right, was I don't know if it was, like, late in the night, she stood up, right, and said,
Uh-huh.
"Lauren,"
Yeah.
right? And then she was pointing at something in the hallway. I think this is how you described it,
Yeah.
right? And there was nothing there, obviously.
Yeah.
So you could say maybe it's a hallucination. You could say maybe she was close to death and could see things that maybe
Right.
we can't see,
Right.
which is crazy how she was like going like this too,
Yeah.
wasn't she? Shaking her finger like she was like she's rebuking something, in the
Right.
hallway.
But I think
That's crazy.
definitely it was crazy though, like, I just kept being like, "Mom, you could go," and then after I
Held
can only
on.
imagine, and then she took that deep breath and I was like, "Oh god, where are my sisters? What is going on?"
And I took
And
my
then
time
Lauren
that day.
finally yeah,
I don't know why.
Lauren finally came, like, when mom was doing her, like, Aptic episode and stuff, and then I was like, "Oh my god, Lindsay better get here," and you came in dude, you came in the nick of I think she took one last breath and then
Isn't that crazy? Because I woke up that morning and I was like, I just felt like a peace, like I should just kind of take my
right?
time. And I was picking lilac. We have lilac trees. I don't
Uh-huh.
know why, because I never do
Well,
that,
yeah,
right?
you do you.
But I don't know. I brought it there, and like you said, I got there in the nick of time.
Nick of ti dude, she took her
11:27.
yeah,
I remember because I had my stethoscope out and I was
right,
listening
yeah,
to her heart, and
right,
I heard her heart stop beating.
right,
That was wow, that was pretty intense. Yeah.
right, but that's
Mm-hmm.
how I mean, yeah, dude, thank the Lord, last breath, and then it was just like
That kind of makes me tear up. I know.
right? I mean,
Thinking about it.
it's a lot, but it was also like, I don't know, I felt a lot I mean, like, I was sad, don't get me wrong, I was bawling, but I also felt a lot of peace about it.
I did too. I did too, and especially in her last moments when I knelt down there with you
Mhm.
guys were there, and I was like, "Mom, just go, walk towards
Right,
Jesus." Do you remember me
right,
saying that to her? It's just like these moments, these words,
right,
I'm just like, "Walk to him, Mom," and then that was it.
right.
She wanted us all 3 to be there is
And we
kind of
were I
what.
mean, that's the thing. I mean, I think it was definitely a God thing and stuff, but it was
Oh, absolutely, I
yeah,
think so.
I think I mean, I had a lot of peace. I mean, I was horribly sad, but I had a lot of peace because it was just like I mean, plus, I mean, like, you look back and it's like she like I said, she had a lot of demons and shame that she
Right.
didn't really, like she dealt with, not the best ways, but it's just like, she just needed to see the Lord was like, "Boo, I got you, like, come here,
Isn't that
let go."
crazy that she got sick? Do you think it's mercy that God showed, or do you think
Right?
it's I don't know, some would say a curse or
I
I don't
wouldn't
know,
say
whatever
that.
you
I mean,
say.
I mean, I would go back to John 9 when they see when the disciples see the was it the blind and they're like, "Whose sin
Oh,
was
right.
that?" And he was like, "It's no one's sin. It's to get, to give me glory." And looking back now, I think all of it was definitely to give God's glory and to really help us evaluate our need for Jesus.
So maybe it has not just to do with her, but
Mhm.
with
I mean,
us as well.
if mom wouldn't have got sick, we would not be here right now as close as we were because we weren't I mean, we were close, but we weren't that close,
Isn't that crazy? It's so easy to play the what if game. What would have happened if she
right?
hadn't
Well,
had
they
it?
said if ifs were a fifth, we all be drunk.
Yeah. Where'd she get that, dude? I like that.
It's in like a rap song or something, but it's very
It's
true. Like there is a lot of ifs, but we just have to live. But I feel that I mean, I
Mhm.
think mom's death, yes, is sad, but she is now in heaven, and one day we will see her in her glory, how we
Her
remember her and
glorified
more.
body, right.
Like, it reminds me of, like, the pictures there's a picture of her and Aunt Stacy when they first opened up Felipe's,
Oh,
and
she's
just, like,
beautiful.
she
Yeah,
was
her and Sid.
killing it. She was real hot. She was, like I mean, like, she looked great, like, it was just she
That's a
was
good way to
and that's how
leave that in
I've
your
always
mind.
viewed mom, that once she passed away, I always viewed her as that, like, beautiful because mom was real pretty.
Oh, yeah.
She was
That's
real
why it was
pretty.
hard to see her at the end,
Right?
she
Oh,
did it
right.
was
It was
bad.
so bad.
Yeah, and there's a couple verses that I actually to this day
Uh-huh.
that I play in my head when I
Hit
start to
us
feel
with them.
sadness,
Yeah.
okay? So obviously Luke 23:43, he says, to the thief on the cross, of course, Towana wasn't the thief, but he says,
I mean, we
"Today I
all
will
are.
see you in paradise."
Right.
So I think of it as like you take your last breath here on earth, and then the next breath is awake in heaven in Jesus'
Oh, yeah.
presence. And if you look at it through that lens, it brings a lot of comfort because to think of death and I'm never gonna see this person ever again kind of thing. That's
Yeah.
so, like, final and hopeless, you know?
Right, yeah.
But when we know, because Twana was a Christian,
Oh,
she
yeah,
loved
no.
the Lord,
She did.
she wasn't perfect by any means. N none of us are.
Yeah.
But to see her again and that to know that I will see her again in a glorified body is pretty cool.
Right.
Like, it brings a lot of comfort. I don't know how people who don't know the Lord deal with grief.
Right.
It's, 'cause it's pretty it could destroy you, it can move you away from
Oh,
God
it
or bring
can.
you closer to
I
God.
mean, you can make some bad decisions in grief and stuff. It's like a veil of, like, grief. It's like you view so much stuff if you stay in it and stuff,
Oh,
and it
it's
can wreck you. It's
just it could destroy your life pretty
Mhm.
much, you know?
But yeah, no, I don't know either and stuff. I would say during that time, one thing that got me was the just "It Is Well." Like, once she passed away, the song that came in my head was like,
It is
it is well
I like
with
that
my
song.
soul."
That's a
Yeah.
good song.
It was just like and it's still this day, like, well, like, it just gave me it was what like, it was just well, like, it was just
No,
like
I know exactly what you're
it
yeah.
was just
That and the goodness of our God too is another one.
Right.
How many people could lose a loved one and say that God is good still?
Right.
That song, Bethel,
Right.
really got me, the goodness of our God.
Oh,
I
yeah,
love you,
no.
Lord, no
Right?
matter
Oh my
what,
god. That
basically.
song that
Even
one
I sing
gets
it in
me.
church, and it just
Oh.
brings back
Oh,
memories of her,
right.
you know?
But yeah, no, I think that's so true. It's just a testimony that like we are able to see God's kindness and that we saw the redemptiveness of
Yeah, which a
mom's.
lot of people don't get to that
Yeah.
point, you know?
And I think that's why a lot of people don't understand when they ask us. I mean, when people ask me about mom and stuff, I'm like, yeah, no, she's no longer like she passed away of early onset Alzheimer. And people are like, ah, and I mean, the annoying thing is it kills the mood, and that's not what I
Right.
want. And I'm
It gets
just like, no,
awkward.
she's in a better place. Like it's, like, yes, do I want her
They're just
here?
like, "Awkward,
I
okay."
would love to have her here. Like I would love for Vancouver Zara and Daisy to have their grandmother here, and I don't have to tell them, through, a picture about Grandma Towana.
Yeah.
And so that's
It's
yeah.
just mourn the time that you
Do
lost
it
with her. I
or
think
like
that's kinda
when I'm sick, like, would I like my mom to be here? Yes, I
right.
would, but it's just like but, like, it's also like she's in a better place,
Well,
and
and
I
the
know that sounds so
yeah.
like
You understand that there's a greater purpose maybe than
Mhm.
what we realize or what we see. There's a
Oh, yeah.
greater picture that God sees that we don't see. We only
Yeah.
see this finite, this infinite little this little small
Right.
part
It
of the
is.
picture, you know? And as time goes on, I could see the bigger picture, I feel like. It gets more wide, you
It
know?
does. I think the more you take yourself out of the equation and realize
Mhm.
you're not the main character and there is a redemptive quality and we want to use our story to help other people that are in struggle. Maybe, like I said, beginning of this, like they may not have a parent that has Alzheimer's, but they are probably going through something
Yeah.
else. And it is like it's a hard thing to go through and to see like someone you love, like slowly, like you knew how they were, all that love, all the caring, all the people that they touched and stuff, and then just like how it is now. But I think there's just so much redemption in it. It was just a very during that time, there was a few other things going on. So it was a lot of stuff at once and stuff. But I look back and
Mhm.
I think something that helped me with my relationship with the Lord was that like the Lord is stays the same. Like
Yeah.
I thought like, Lord, where are you?
It's
Not
consistent.
exactly, I would say Tawana's death was compounded with other stuff that kind of made me more like doubt where the Lord is, but, like, something always came to me, it was like, "I am right here. I never change. Like, your feelings are back," your feelings can change, but, like, I'm still always right here, and I've been here with you
Mhm.
this whole time. Don't you see, like, you don't have your mother, but look at all you have this family. Your dad. I mean, like, then my relationship with dad got a lot better then
Yeah.
and stuff. Like, then, like, the Lord used that to redeem our relationship, and now we have a great
Yeah, because
relationship.
he moved here
Yeah, he
right
watches,
before
like,
she died.
the things we wanted as kids, we have now with our father. Like,
Yeah, it kinda came
it
back
came
around a
back
little bit.
around. I mean,
Granted,
that's
it changed a
it
lot of the dynamic of our family completely was, like, flipped upside down.
But in that though, we got our dad back. We have a lot better
Right,
relationship,
yeah.
you
Mhm.
know, and like now we can be more empathetic to like stories that we hear and stuff and when people pass away and
I
stuff.
do. You have, like, 2 you could stand and say, "Hey, I'm sorry that you lost a bit," and you know what it's like.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? You have, like, the authority. You could speak from a position of authority when you
right,
lose somebody with someone else, when someone
right.
else is going through
And
it.
you can make like space for people.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I think
So
that's it. Like you can sit down and be like, yeah, no, have not exactly gone through what you've gone through, but I have lost someone. I have felt these emotions. I have gone through a lot of stuff, and this is how I worked it out. Like, this is how I relied on the Lord.
Yeah. Well, I kinda wrote a little bit a
Mhm.
little
Yeah.
words
Dude,
about grief. I
say
kinda
these
pulled
words.
this from my speech that or I guess you'd say
Mhm.
speech from her funeral. It says, "If you grief, it moves you toward God or moves you away, depending on how you allow him to work in it. It's where the rubber meets the road, where your faith becomes very real and you deeply understand what it means to trust God. It's a series of emotions that cause you to wrestle with God and ask hard questions, some that you have to be okay with not knowing the answers to.
Mhm.
It strips away all the pretenses. You all see the petty differences that, every day that separate people. It
Yeah.
makes you think, like, who cares? Like, I lost my loved one. Who cares about all those stupid little things? A lot of people run from feeling their numbness and they try to numb their pain.
Right.
You just need to, like, lean into it is kind of,
Yeah.
I guess, what I'm saying too. But feeling the pain is what makes you heal. As odd as that sounds, our weakness makes us stronger in these moments. When time freezes and you look around and you can't believe what happened, you can't believe they aren't there anymore. That thought brings a panic feeling to your soul, much like your stomach dropping on a ride. It's something we will all experience, yet we pretend it won't ever happen to us. But it will. It's the reality of the fallen world. Christ died so we may live again, so that death is not the end, it's the beginning for believers in him. What do we fear about death so much? The pain, the unknown? Jesus says, "Do not fear, for I have overcome the world, so that you may live again." We must truly believe this. Grief is when we find out the depth of our faith, when nothing else in this world seems to matter, other than what we have lost. It's the process. The beauty can come from ashes, even though we can't feel or see it. In the moment of our turmoil, releasing emotions to God. And then I had this verse, John 14, 2 through 3, which we'll actually study here
Uh-huh.
at some point. In my Father's house are many rooms. If it were not so, I would have told you. I am going there to prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come back and take you to be with me. You may also be there with me.
Yeah.
And right now I think about, like, she has her room.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He went ahead of us. She has her room.
Yeah.
And one day we will have our room.
Right.
So
We'll
that
go
kinda
visit her.
right. So I'm like, hopefully my room's next to hers.
We're still fighting over who's gonna be next to
I
mom
know.
now.
And I think they'll recognize us, our loved
Oh,
ones are
yeah.
in
No,
heaven.
definitely. I mean,
I
I
think
think
there's
so.
familiarity,
Right.
whether she'll be my mom or not, I don't know, but
Right.
it's kinda cool.
But yeah, there'll be a community in that. There'll be
Yeah.
yeah. Mhm. But yeah, I mean, I definitely think that, and I think that was very well done, dude. But yeah, I think, the part where I was saying, like, we go through this and it truly shows our character when we go through these refining,
Yeah,
thing.
like the
It's a make or
process of
break.
refining,
Like,
right.
yeah. I think that's where we find our true strength in it, and our true relationship with the Lord.
Yeah, and your resilience too, like, you
Yeah.
don't know how strong you are until you go through these things too,
Right.
right?
I think
And
so.
where you pull your strength from.
Mhm.
A lot of people get mad at God and resent him and are mad, "Why'd you do this to me?"
Right, but that's because they just what was it? I heard someone, what was his name? Philip Yancey, he's one that, like,
Hmm.
he's a Christian author, and he said the people that impress him are the people that do with they find the redemption in their pain.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's everyone
Awesome.
the thing is, I tell this all the time when I'm promoting the podcast, we're all linked by pain. We've all have suffering. This world is full of suffering.
Yeah.
So, one thing that binds us together is this pain, but it's what you do with the pain is what matters.
Yeah.
Because you can,
How you use it.
like, and we've all been in the situation where something bad has happened to us and we then use it to be victim and stuff. But it's that getting out of it and finding that redemptive quality of it,
Mhm.
and finding the way to use your pain to help other people in this.
Yeah.
And when you help other people, then it takes you out of that pain, and you find the redemption in it. You
You
find
find a purpose
you
in your
find the
pain.
purpose, yeah.
Right. I mean, that's like the quote.
Right? Pain in your yes.
Pain in your but it is so true, and you'll notice you know that when you
Yeah.
walk through this stuff. That
Right.
in the I'm on the outside looking, back in, and I'm like, "Wow, all that happened," and there is a purpose, right?
Right, and you found and we also found, like, how silly the small things are and stuff,
Oh,
and
yeah.
not to, like, it doesn't really matter.
Right, 'cause but around that time she died, it was all this political garbage going on, all this
Yeah, I
stuff,
mean, it was a COVID
and
stuff.
I just remember, like, I don't care about any of this stuff right now.
Right,
Oh, you know what I mean? Like, it was
right,
just like everything just honed in on what was happening in my personal life.
right.
So I went to the stores and didn't wear a mask, and oh boy, I got yelled at because I didn't
Right?
care whether I lived
It
or
was
died
just
of
such
COVID
a
at that moment.
divisive I feel like there's just a constant, like, the devil's trying to get us
Right.
so divisive. If it's not COVID, it's an election, it's who we voted for, it's your
Well, it
political
creates
views.
chaos, though, in
It
people,
does.
and that God is not the author of chaos.
Yeah.
That's I think I've said that before.
Ain't nothing wrong with that, yeah. But I think that's so true. It's just it's a hard I mean, it's taken us a long time. I mean, 'cause mom's now been passed away for 5 years, almost
Yeah.
5 years?
This May, 5
It
years.
was what I thought, 'cause I was pregnant Zara is 4, and I was pregnant with her during that time. But yeah, I mean, it's just a lot of stuff happened during that time too and stuff. But I think all that compound into, mom passing away and then some other family stuff happened. And it's just, but
Mhm.
in all that, I think we
Yeah, that's
saw
right.
the true beauty of like, it sounds weird talking about like our mom passing away and dying and, becoming this, shell of a person and being like, the Lord is kind.
Right,
It
that the
sounds,
goodness of our God, you're
it
like,
sounds so,
how
it's
many people could see that when a horrible thing like you said, there was other things going on in the family.
right.
It was awful, like, I would never say, "Oh, I wanna go back and relive that year again,"
No,
because it was absolutely, like, in every level,
right.
like, my marriage, our
Y'all
family, my
right,
mom, the
yeah.
world, it was awful,
Yeah,
so
it was a dumpster fire, but yeah.
it was a dumpster fire.
But we look back and now all I can see is the Lord was kind. Was it hard? But it healed some relationships, took some relationships
Yeah.
that weren't
Mhm.
real authentic relationships, not God-giving and stuff. It
Letting go of
yeah,
that too was hard.
it was refining in that and stuff. So I think
Ugh, I know, that
during that time,
refining.
it worked on not just like, knowing what's important, but also forgiving.
Yeah,
And I think
which is a lot of things all at once to
we
do.
had to forgive a lot of people, and we had to
Mhm.
not be offended, and we had to realize that, you know, our hope isn't in these other people or what they did to us, but our hope is in Jesus
Yes, amen.
Christ.
That is right, and
So I think in that wasn't we didn't just learn, that, put in perspective of what is important, but also we had to work through forgiveness. We had to work through, I don't know, patience and stuff like that. And forgiveness was a whole nother thing we
not
had
being
to
angry
yeah,
too is another big
right. We
emotion.
had to work on anger. We had to, there was just a
Mhm.
lot of stuff, but looking back now and stuff, we see, the Lord's work in that and us. It deepened our relationship with the Lord. It deepened our relationship with each other. And now,
It
like,
did bring us closer together.
yeah,
Remember how she died? Like, we were with each other, we were having all these cookouts, and
right, yeah. And I
it
think
did.
if it wasn't for mom passing away, we wouldn't, we would have been I would have definitely been in my own thing. 'Cause I do have a tendency to compartmentalize
Yeah.
and to just be like, all right, let's just by willpower, let's just
Just
power
keep
through
on
this.
going.
Yeah, keep on
I
going.
could see that in you, did. You're just
Or like when mom passed away, it was just
Mhm.
like I threw myself into
You
no
did.
one, not
You did
dealing
it,
with it
definitely.
fully,
Mhm.
being pregnant, and then also I started picking up a whole bunch at work 'cause it's
Oh, I
COVID.
remember it.
The money was really good and stuff,
Right.
and then I started getting panic attacks, and, like, it just got to debilitating where I had to face my actually what was important to me, like, was it being a nurse or was it being a mother, a wife, and to stay at home with my children?
'Cause that's a lot, dude. Being a nurse during that time
Well,
was
yeah. And then I was
horrendous.
also the money was so good that I was just, like, throwing myself
It
into it
was. The money
more.
was good, but the floors weren't. It
Right?
was
It was
awful.
a cluster. It was a lot. But, I mean, like, it was traumatic in its own way and stuff.
That was too. So you got the PTSD from the COVID floors, then my mom, and then the family
Right?
issues. It's just like that whole it was just
But I think it also is humbling being like, you
Mhm.
can't like I says constantly on the podcast, it's like, everything's gonna work out to a point, and you're gonna be able to use willpower, and but there's gonna be a time where
Going through
you
it's
can't. You
pretty tough.
just can't do it anymore. And no matter
Yeah,
what you
well,
do, no matter whatever you do, no matter if you drink it away, you work it
that's the
away, you do
numbness, right, the
you try to numb
numbing of
this,
the
there
pain.
is gonna be a time where it just was
It will
debilitating.
come. It will come back to
And
you.
mine happened, like, at
Mhm.
work where I feel like the Lord was
Oh,
after
yeah.
mom passed away, I feel like the Lord was calling me to stay at home, but I didn't want to because, 1, mom never really talked about it, like, she kinda was a negative about staying at home. Plus, it was
Mm,
like, I worked my butt off to be a nurse. This is who I am. Like, I don't like, I have kids, but, like,
yeah.
Imma be a nurse, where it's
You worked
like
hard to get
yeah, I
there, and you
worked
don't wanna
hard,
quit the job.
where it was like, the Lord humbled me with that too, and just being like, "No, you stay at home." remember what just happened. Your mom passed away, all this stuff. Like, I'm telling you to stay at home. Your job, your purpose right now is to stay at home with
When
your
did you
children.
stop? When did you stop? When did you leave the hospital?
Um, what was it? Like
I can't remember.
it was 2.5 years ago.
Oh, it was?
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Yeah. So then, and it's still like, I mean, it still gets me where I'm like, oh my God, I need to, but I think that time, but if it wasn't for mom passing away, I wouldn't have slow down. And I still like get myself kind of like willpower it and stuff. I mean, not too long ago, I had shingles and now I have scars from it. Like I
You're
do.
just like a machine. Like you're just
Right. And
what's it, a
that's
Martha and the Mary? That's what it reminds me of. You know, you're the Martha and the Mary, the one that just
right. And that's how I am. And I miss stuff. And I think that mom passing away and all this stuff happened to remind me, like we said, there was just a lot of stuff that the Lord worked through us and worked on us. And then that's where this, being staying at home and this vision for the podcast came from. The Lord had a lot
Yeah,
better
see, that's crazy.
assignment than I thought.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, that's
Right. How about you, dude? Anything
That's
looking back?
pretty similar stuff. I didn't know my pain very much. I felt like early on I was like a hot mess. I
Right.
don't know if you remember. I was
You
crying
like,
over the casket.
right. But I would say, I mean, like,
I
we're all
was just
crying, but I would say
I did not handle it very well at the beginning.
yeah, right.
It
You
was
did.
just it was a lot. I was very emotional. So
Uh-huh.
I was really emotional at the beginning, and then it worked its way out. And I
Right.
feel like you were the
We deal
opposite.
with grief.
Yours was
Everyone deals
like
with grief different.
you just did, and
I
then it
did.
came back 2 years later or something, you
Right.
know?
It did.
So
It took
mine
like,
was just like I had to do it right now.
right.
And boy, it came out. It was just I remember just like laying like on the floor sometimes and just like you know that feeling where you're just like, oh, it's so deep and the
Mm-hmm.
chest pain kind of.
Mm-hmm.
I can't explain. It's not anxiety. It's just like it's
It's
just a
just like an
horrible pain.
aching kind of just like,
Right.
yeah.
That's what I had to deal with early on. But after about, I don't know, I would say a few months, it
Yeah.
got better. And everybody, everybody moves on except for you, it seems like
Yeah.
sometimes, you know? Everyone's
Right.
like, okay, well, it's been 6 months. Like, are you over it now? Kind of thing. That's
Right.
what
And it's like,
I just felt that
yeah.
kind of vibe from people, you know? But eventually it does get better.
Right. I mean, the thing is, everyone grieves different. And I don't think there's a
Yeah.
timeline for grief. And also,
No, it's a
grief is
personality.
a wave. Like, it still hits me sometimes, especially if, I can only imagine. Or like, I get sick or stuff like that. Like
Like
I
the
do.
triggers.
Yeah, there's triggers. And I don't think anyone's ever going to. No one ever heals from something like a loss like that. It's just, there's a scar, but then I don't know, it makes you learn from it and it makes you better. Like it builds that character that,
Most of the time.
yeah.
Sometimes it doesn't for some people. They get
Yeah. But
most of the time.
if you put it in the Lord's hands and you give it up
Yeah.
being like, Lord, I can't do this anymore. Help me in my grief. Walk with me because Jesus is not a I mean, he does deliver some people from suffering and from grief, but the Lord is not a superhero. He's a relational God. He wants to sit with us. He wants to be with us. He wants to,
And suffering is part of the Christian walk. A lot of
it
people
is,
become a Christian. They're like, oh, everything's going to be great. I'm going to get
right?
everything I wanted, you know?
Right.
But
It's
it
not.
doesn't work that way.
There's
The whole
nothing in
Bible
the
is about
Bible.
suffering. You know,
Right.
look at Jesus suffered on the
There
cross.
is, yeah.
So I think that's a misunderstanding on people's
Right.
part too.
I mean, I fault the prosperity gospel for that, but that's a whole nother thing. But yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, I look back and I'm like, why did I think it was going to be easy being a Christian? Sometimes it could be harder because it's like the problem is you also know, like, it's going to be suffering and it's going to be hard. And I still find myself being like, why is it so hard?
It is, especially in like this today and age too.
Right.
Like there's going to be, and the more like pushback we get as a society too, the more
Right.
stronger of a Christian we're going to have to be, you know?
Yeah.
So you got to stand up for stuff too.
Right.
But
And,
suffering is going to be a part of it. It's
right.
not going to be a cakewalk.
No. And that's why every day you have to just lay down your cross, die to self, and then
Yeah, that's the daily thing.
that's
That's a daily prayer.
that's a day. It is. It very much is. But in this, I mean, I think in both of our stories, we've found the like redemptive quality in it and stuff. But
I
yeah,
think so, definitely. No, I don't know if our other sister's that way. God love
right.
her. I'm still praying
We're
for
so
her,
we
but
all pray for her.
she still really deeply struggles with it. Just by when we go out to the grave.
Yeah.
I can just tell. I'm like, you have to let go, Lauren. You have to.
Right.
Like it's just,
You're gonna be like Elsa.
it's
Let
gonna
it go.
destroy you. Right? Exactly. Yeah. That's a good song.
Right. It is. Little did Disney know they were speaking some truth there. They're
Mhm.
giving the word with "Let It Go."
Yeah. So that's that.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and all that. I think that's good, dude.
All right.
Anything else you wanna add?
Nope, I think we covered it all.
Right, dude? I had a good time with you. Look, it's nice to remixing it from
I know, it
2
was. It was
sisters
good
and John,
reminiscing.
right?
Uh-huh.
Reminiscing and not
Yeah.
just I mean, like, I do love going through John with you, but then also, like, giving more,
More of a
insight into
personal
yeah,
note.
into a relationship, and just I feel like I've had a lot of people reach out and be like, "Well, I really wish you would talk more about that," and, like, the experience of it, because it's a rare experience, but I'm hoping it stays rare and not many
Yeah,
people right? But I saw some statistic when I was looking up stuff about Alzheimer's that, like, early onset is starting to, like, rise.
that's crazy too, and, I think there's some part of me too in the back of my mind, like, "Oh, I don't wanna get that," you know?
Actually, let's visit that real quick. I
Yeah.
know we have a little bit of time.
Yeah.
So both of us did get tested for the genetic gene. Did you
There's
have
2
both of
variants.
yeah, did you have both
I have
variants?
1 variant.
See, I have both. So
Oh.
I have a 50% chance of getting it.
Right, so you have 2 variants, it ups it
Yeah. I mean, it's not
significantly.
but then I went to go see mom's neurologist for, like, 2 years, like yeah, 2
Mhm.
times in 2 years, and she was like, "Honestly, you can't like, you have it, it's not a death sentence,
Oh, that's
but
good
it
to hear at
just"
least.
right? But she was like, "Honestly, there's no medicine for it. All there is"
Like, how is there no cure is what I don't understand
right?
this. We've been
She was
studying
like,
it.
"And I can't give you are healthy, and there's no study for, like, people who currently right now, you just have a learning disability, you don't have Alzheimer's, like, there's like, the test we give you, like, you struggle a little bit, but that's just because of your learning disabilities and
Hmm.
stuff." She was like, "But there's no medicine, it's not been tested for people your age, we can't give it to you." And she was like, "The only thing you can do is" I mean, she gave me a few supplements to take, and then also to just, like, try to be less stressed as you can, have a healthy diet, do
Yeah,
all
how's that
lifestyle
working? How's the
changes.
stress thing?
I mean, currently it's a little high, but, you're just relying on the Lord, but it's also something I've had to come to terms with. I've told, like, my mom's group is that, like, this is in the Lord's hands. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, does it suck? Yes, and it's like, there could be a time, yeah, that Zach's gonna be with I mean, thank the Lord I
Mm.
married someone who loves the Lord,
Oh,
but there's
that's
gonna be
really important, right.
right? But like, Zach might have to be a day when he's gonna be raising the kids, or they're gonna, like, they might
Mhm.
not. Vancouver's are and Daisy's, kids might not have a
Well,
grandmother.
there's
But
only
it's
so
just
much
like,
you could do, you know? You
there's
could
only
do
s
advanced directives and all that stuff, like,
right?
medically wise,
You
but
can plan all you can, but it's like, it's in the Lord's hands, and I have to be well with my soul that that's how it's gonna be.
yeah, it's something you just have to accept. I contacted an IU, they were doing a study actually on
Yeah,
early onset. I don't know how I found this a couple years ago, before she went to the facility.
yeah,
And they told me that I couldn't be part of the study because there was only one person in my family, my mom, who had early onset Alzheimer's, and it was a familial disease. So basically, it had to be more than one person in order to be in this study.
yeah.
So they automatically disqualified me for that. They're like, "Well, we don't know if it's really," I was like, "Okay, well, that's weird, whatever."
Alright,
But yeah, they wouldn't let me be part of the study. So I said, "Well, this is if it happens, it happens.
right.
You just have to go on with your life, you
You
know?"
do, and you have to I mean, the Lord gave us not what is a fear, but of power.
Yeah.
I forgot. I wish I could recall. I
This
wish I was
is
one of those people
fear, yeah, spirit of fear,
yeah,
being timid, right.
yeah. Lord did not give us
I think
a
I wrote
spirit
that
of
down,
fear, but
actually.
of love, power, and, like, self-preservation or
That's something you just have
self-response.
to surrender to the Lord, and
You
if it's
do.
gonna happen,
It's
I've told Mike, my husband, I'm like, "Hey, if this happens, I want this facility."
right? I mean, you could do the planning, and Zach knows and
Right.
stuff, but, I mean, because
We
both
could
are
put us together, yeah.
yeah, right, right, that'd be a fun time. But it's just something that, like, we do have is a possibility because of our mother, and it killed me when I first found out. Because at the time, I only had Vancouver, and I was just like,
Mm,
I had both of these genes, and I gave my child the possibility of having this.
wow,
So
yeah.
I can give my child might end up like my mom, you know what I mean? Like,
Hmm,
because it also says it skips a generation, and, like
it does,
and it's
yeah, that's
so,
what
like, it's also, like, dealing with all that, it's just like all you can do is just give it to the Lord and just, enjoy the time you have with these kids, all like,
yeah.
just not like live in the moment, like live it up and stuff, but just be like, see what is important pretty much.
Mhm.
And that, like,
That's
it
you have to
killed me
look
at
at it.
first. I remember I was going to work and I worked night shift, and then I got the results saying I had both
Those
genes.
2, wow.
I had both of them. And then all that I thought about was like my kids. Like, I just effed over my kids
So you have a 50% chance. Is that
Yeah.
what the doctor said? So I
Yeah.
wonder if one's, but 25
Yeah.
maybe?
I have 50% chance. So, like, it's like, that
Oh.
BRCA genes, people get their, like,
Oh,
boobs
I
taken
know.
off.
Yeah.
It's that, like, it is that intense, like, but there's nothing they can do.
See, at
So
some
that's
point,
like
it's like, do you get tested then or do you not? Because is
right?
it become a self-fulfilling prophecy? Because you're like, "Oh, I have
But
this. It's
that's
gonna
I mean,
happen."
you have to like, in my perspective, I just have to be like, I have this. It
Well, I
is
got one, so I
yeah,
still got it in there.
right? It's like, it is what it is. Like, all I can do is have faith and just do my best. Like, just do my best what I can. Like, take my vitamins, do my exercising,
And be
don't drink.
sharp too, like,
Yeah,
with your
I mean,
mind. Use your mind.
yeah,
Reading helps.
I know. I mean, now I read the Bible, so there you go. We don't know all the time. But yeah, I just, I try to make efforts to
Mhm.
go out my way to, be bet do better things and stuff, and I tried like, the number one thing they say is to, like, pretty much just stop drinking alcohol because it's, like, the number one thing that
Well, that
triggers
and
it.
stress. I would say
That yeah.
stress, your cortisol levels and
Yeah.
stuff have a lot to do with your brain activity. It's pretty linked, your
Alright.
endocrine system and
So,
stuff.
but yeah,
Yeah.
she was like, "The only thing I'd tell you is, lifestyle change." She was like, "I would cut out alcohol altogether." So I tried not to I tried not to drink much. Like, I
Yeah.
don't drink
Me
all the
me
time.
too. I'm the same way. After
But
having
yeah.
flu, I'm like, I ain't doing that anymore.
But I think it's just in this world, there's kind of like you said, there's gonna be struggles, there's gonna be but, like, take heart because Jesus Christ overcame them all and stuff, and I think the Lord has given me like, undeniable peace. Like, I don't like, it's just, like, it is what it is. The Lord has blessed me with a beautiful husband, God-fearing husband that, I don't will I be sad if I,
Mhm.
if I die early or and stuff like this? Yeah, but I also know the Lord is with me in this.
Well, I kinda use humor a little bit. I know that's
Right.
not like, I'm like, "Okay, so I'm 42, Tawana died at 62, so I have 20 more years left." That's why it's like,
Right?
"Mike, we better do this. We better go on vacation here because I got 20 more years."
Alright.
So it's like a joke. I
It's
know,
like
it's
yeah,
like,
but it
but
helps you to, like, slow down and be intentional with life
well, and
sometimes.
how you live your life, like, not being stressed out all the time. Like,
Right?
I'm real big on not being stressed out.
And, like, slowing down is
Right.
something and I'm horrible with slowing down. Like, I just wanna be like, "I'll do this, I'll do that," and I have to now just be like, "No,
Yeah,
sit your butt
you do
down."
struggle with that, dude.
I
I do
do.
see that.
I wanna do all the things.
Just think of it this way, if I had 20 years left, I knew for a fact I only had 20 years left to live. How would you
Right?
live your life?
Right?
And that's why I left the hospital and stuff because it was so stressful.
Right?
I wanted time at home with the kids. I wanted to just, like, live my life, and
Right?
I have the opportunity to do that.
Right? I mean, the Lord provided, so I was able to do that. Like, I know some people, maybe want to, but I believe, like, if it is the will of the Lord, then He will provide for that. And currently, right now, He's provided for it like that. I mean,
Yeah.
He's provided for that, for the
Well,
podcast,
you
like,
just gotta step out too.
you got yeah.
You stepped out
You
of
gotta
it.
do it, and
Mhm.
that's the hard thing too, is you have to I had another podcast I talked to her, you just every day you have to choose God. You choose Jesus every day.
Yeah, like, you have to wake up and consciously make that
Yeah,
decision.
consciously, and I think that's
Mhm.
what helps me through my day is I choose, like, not to be offended. I choose not to, harbor,
Do you
unforgiveness.
feel like you like, you think these thoughts throughout the day? Kinda like, "Okay, I get these thoughts."
Yeah.
Do you, like, walk yourself through it?
Oh,
Because
yeah.
that's kind of what I do
I
too,
give it to the Lord when I have thoughts like that, I give it to the Lord and be like, "Lord, this is what I'm thinking. I give this to you because I know this is not of you, Lord. You do not give us, like I said, fear. You not give us like this is not yours, Lord.
Fear,
I give
yeah.
it to you. Please fill me with the Holy Spirit."
Like fear, insecurity,
Yeah,
anxiety, these are the things, depression even,
or
you
even like
feel
just
these.
the feeling of needing to be hurried, being like, "Oh, I better be doing this, or someone's going to think this." It's like, no,
Yeah, that's it.
they don't need to be like it's not. This is not for your will. Your will is to have me just rest during this time and to not, be like
Saying
doing
no
this,
to
doing that.
people.
Yeah, and saying no and being okay with saying no.
Do you feel like you have a hard time saying no?
Yeah, because I also
Mike tells me I always have a hard time
well,
saying
mine
no.
is because I'm a people pleaser, but I also just want to be doing stuff and I want to be
But no.
recognized. My problem is I want to be like,
Oh, really?
uh-huh, and I want
That's
to be like,
funny.
I suffer from like pride, but not the pride of being like, I'm super cool. I suffer from pride of being there for people.
Oh, okay. Well,
Like
that's interesting that you know that about yourself.
I used to pride myself on being like, well, like I sit with this person, I do this and stuff. But then it wasn't, but it was
Oh,
me
gotcha.
doing it for myself to be like, look at, I can spend time,
So it's
at
like a
these.
work-based
Yeah.
thing kinda,
It
right?
was kind of like when I did bereavement in the hospital for labor and delivery. I was like, look at me, doing this. Like, look at me taking care of these mothers who lost their baby. Where
That's
it
the
was like,
pride of life,
yeah. Whereas, but it
Mhm.
wasn't like I'm cool. It was more I pride myself on
Doing good
doing good
things,
things and
right.
being a good person. But it
Mhm.
wasn't spirit led. It was Lacey led.
That's awesome, dude.
But the Lord
That's so
revealed that
funny.
to me. It wasn't like
It's lazy led.
it was Lacey led. Like the Lord revealed that to me.
It was lazy led.
Uh-huh.
See, I'm more, like, selfish with my time, I guess you'd say. That's
What
probably
does
where
that
I
mean?
fall. I just don't, I don't know, I don't wanna, so people are like, "You wanna do this?" And I'm like, "No, no, no, I like to stay in my little comfort
Oh,
box."
okay.
Do you know what I'm
You're
saying?
more like introverted, like you wanna stay
Yes.
at home
Yeah,
kind of thing. Oh, okay.
exactly. That's kind of
Oh, yeah,
the
no, I
struggles
definitely
there.
see that, dude. You've gotten so much better, but yeah, there was a time where, dude, you were not,
It just depends on the mood I'm in, you
right?
know?
There was a time when, like, you got, like, mad if we came over a lot. You were just like, "I don't know why we're using my house so much." You're like, "Well, it happens to be in between Mary and in my house. I'm sorry, dude, but."
It just depends on, if I'm going
Hospitality,
through or if I'm
hospitality.
stressed.
The Lord calls us to be hospitable. We're a
Yeah, I
community,
go in spurts. I'll be hospitable, and I'm like, "Okay, leave me alone," and then
right? Well,
hospitable.
you gotta pray to the Lord and figure out, like, you need to find a happy meaning because I don't know if you're supposed to be living your life, like, yes, and then be like, "No." Like, I think there should be, like,
It's getting balanced. It's getting balanced. It's a
"Hey, we're
process. It's the refining,
it's
like the finding of
practice.
gold, you
It's
know?
practice. We are practicing." This is all practice
I'm
in
getting
this
better.
world.
I'm getting
Yeah.
better at it.
Oh, yeah, no, I know. I can see it, dude. I see the fruit.
Thanks.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Alright, in this, seeing the fruit, we should probably finish in this, dude.
Okay.
But yeah, this was fun.
Yeah.
We should do more often. We should talk about our issues more often, dude.
Okay, well, you come up with one, and we'll
Oh.
talk about
Oh, we
it.
got a whole bunch. We have a whole
Oh,
bunch,
yes.
dude. The
There's a
Lord
lot
has
of
helped us.
topics.
The Lord has been
We've had an
kind.
interesting life,
We
haven't we?
have, and I don't realize until I tell other people, and then I'm like, "Oh,
We got
snaps."
some good stories.
We did. The Lord has been, I mean, we've gone through some stuff, and the Lord
Yeah.
has shown his kindness, his love. Yeah.
Well, it involves other people, so we all gotta be very,
Yeah, that's the
sensitive to
problem, yeah,
that.
how to navigate that and
Mhm.
stuff.
Well, some good
But
stories.
if
We
the
could write a
Lord
book.
I feel like if the Lord wants us if it's Lord wants us to speak on it, I think he will give us wisdom on how to navigate it.
Okay, good. I like that.
That's what I think.
We'll go with that.
That's what I'm going with.
Okay.
And with that, I'm going with God in that.
Okay,
All
me
right?
too.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for
Thank
watching Image
you.
Bearers. I'm Lacey Connor. Please like or subscribe. If you listen on Apple Podcasts, five stars. And then if you're hit subscribe on Spotify and YouTube, you know what to do. All right. Bye.